brainstorming. Rain stay pouring all over the court. Check the trade scoring. A rational activist. Others remain dormant. Factual passages able to wage war when time call for it. Burn fire upon corporate setting his back. Sun is fall forward. See the big picture. Don't get stuck on small portraits. Tap resources. Just three inner forces. Mind, body, and soul working like piano chords. Linking the piece together from the root like Neanderthals. Reserving animalistic behavior when I convert into the cross satanic spiritual savior. Words that I use are the truth if I never gave ya anything else in your life. Remember words that I breathe on this mic. I print people a copy to read what I write. Tell it fast like Mach speed on a bike. Like a native chief, I speak and bring peace with a pipe. Subtle as a thief in the night with beats that I like. Check the I'm blacking out like Slobodan Milosevic. Hold that, take some with you. Eternal pain when New Jerusalem hit you. Fall back, don't press the issue with script, lock, script, check, Bethlehem officials.
What up, YouTube? What is going on? No, Dandelion actually did not cough. I had my thing muted, so no, didn't cough. Maybe it wasn't a song. I don't know. What's up, Big O Show? What's up, Dandelion? What's up, Samuel? How you guys doing? Just here on a Friday night, drinking a beer, smoking a spliff. Figured I'd do a little stream, talk about a few things, you know what I mean, and just chill out for a bit with the people that, you know, if they came in to watch, who came in, I don't know, because other people are streaming right now, you know, and they usually have their crowd. So, but it is what it is. I'm going to do what I do and have a pretty decent time just talking to the peeps. Open topics I'll have too as well if you want to talk about it. I'm going to talk about the new movie Nope. Talk about the new movie Nope, which I seen yesterday and got some interesting stuff to say about that. And of course, going to discuss the race bending topic that we had on the OOC. Now, it wasn't what the main topic was, but that's how it ended up being. And it actually caused Ashley to get mad and leave or whatever. But for those of you that seen the show, we cool, we good. You know what I mean? She's my sister. We fine. We talked after the show and was like, yeah, it ain't nothing. Like, I'll always have her back. She'll always have my back. It is what it is. Just heated debate, I guess, you know. But that's how we do on the OOC. We have heated debates. We're going to continue to have heated debates. And I'll say this, if you can't take the heat, stay out the motherfucking kitchen. But with that being said, you know, going to get into the main topic, or close to the main topic, which is the race bending shit, which I think is a fucking stupid argument. I'm sick of it. I am tired of hearing the bullshit about the characters gotta be made like they were in the comic book. These are fictional characters. Who cares? They're not real. They're not real characters. As long as you stay true to the character, who cares if you make them black, you make them Asian, you make them white, female? Who cares? I don't care. And the thing is, normies, which I consider myself a normie, right? I used to be into comic books. Last time I bought a comic book, I think I was like 10 years old. You know, Lunga did his shit. I supported that. That was a comic book I bought like last year, but before that, it was like 10 years old since I bought a comic book. So normies don't care. Like, if you had told me or didn't tell me that they race bend and race and gender bend the Ancient One in Doctor Strange, I would have never known. Most people don't know and don't care. Is it a good story? Did they play the character good? Fine. But most people don't care. And I get it. It's like, oh, well, let's make original characters, right? They should make original characters. Well, we've had maybe 10 black superhero movies, right? We had 3 Blade movies. Not one of those Blade movies made over $200 million. Not one. Now, you look at the budgets. The first one was a $40 million budget. I think it made $135 million times 40 by 3. It was a profit. So we're not talking about profit-wise, right? Because the second one didn't make a profit. The second one was $54 million. Had to make $162 million to break even, because we're talking break even, right? So 3 times the cost of the movie to break even, and it made $155 million. So it didn't even break. It didn't even break even. All right, now I get it. Blade came out at a time where superhero movies weren't as popping as they are now. But what we're talking about is the studios, what they are looking at, right? Not what we are seeing. It's what they are looking at. And if they are looking at these profit margins and saying, well, that's not enough to do it, then they're not going to do it, right? People like to bring up Black Panther a lot. Black Panther made over $1 billion. Black Panther was an anomaly, all right? The reason why it was an anomaly because it was the first black movie ever to make $1 billion. The first one. We had another superhero movie. It was Hancock. I'll put it in the superhero movie. I'll put Hancock in the superhero movie thing, right? It's not DC, it's not, but it did make over $600 million, right? But that was off of the power of Will Smith. At that time, Will Smith was one of the highest grossing actors of all time. Anything he was in was gold. And nowadays, people don't go see movies because of the actor anymore. Back in the day, when I was growing up, didn't matter what fucking movie Arnold Schwarzenegger was doing, you were going to see it. People went out to see Kindergarten fucking Cop because Arnold Schwarzenegger was in it. So nowadays they don't do that. You'll get people who will go see movies because The Rock's in it or this or that, but it's not like it was. They're not the ones that are dominating these movies anymore. It's the actual IP that is more important than the actor that's in these movies. you know. So I'm just sitting here and it's like, well, why not make original characters, right? Because it's like argument which I brought up was I don't care if they make Clark Kent a black man. First off, Clark Kent is an alien from another planet, so I don't care. But people are like, well, they have Val Zod, they have Kelvin Elvis. Why don't they make those movies, right? Calvin Ellis and Val Zod are knockoff Supermen. They are knockoff Superman. If people complain about Miles Morales being a knockoff fucking Spider-Man, what the hell do you think they're going to think about a Calvin Ellis or a Val Zod? Especially when half of the people, the normies, don't know who the hell this character is. I had no idea who the fuck Val Zod or Kelvin Ellis was until I came on YouTube. And from what I read, they had like what, 3 comics a piece? If that? Like, come on. So, as a studio exec, you're going to take the opportunity to make money. They're in the business to make money, they're not in the business to lose money. So, if they feel that making Clark Kent black and making it Michael B. Jordan is going to make more money than having it black Calvin Ellis, then that's what they're going to do because it's about money. It's not about anything else. Diversity, all of this crap is not about that. It is about money. That is all it is. They are trying to tap into certain markets so that they can make more money. Plain and simple. 100%. They do not care about us, right? There was a time where these fucking industry used to say that the Cosby Show would not fucking survive because it was about a black profitable family, a black good family. And nobody wants to see that. That's what they said about the Cosby Show. Do you still think that they don't think that way anymore? They still think that way. If they thought that making black superhero movies were profitable, we would have an abundance of them. In the 90s, they did those black movies, Boys in the Hood, Menace to Society, Jersey Jive, Fresh. They were coming, you know, Best Man, Soul Food, all these movies were coming out back to back. Why were they coming out back to back? It's because they were making money. People were going to see them. When that stopped, you don't see that anymore. You'll get maybe 1 or 2 black movies, and I'm talking about movies that come out nationwide, like, right? Because I know there's some states you'll get a movie, and when I go on the site, I'm looking, I see all these black movies. I'm like, hey, I never even heard of this movie. Either it's a B movie that went straight to video, or it was a movie that actually, I'm sorry, or it was a movie that actually was in a theater in a certain state in like 1,000 theaters or something like that. You know what I mean? So, with that being said, we wouldn't get that here, but I'm talking about nationwide movies. Go look, and I tried to find, like, I'm like looking for not just superhero, but the top grossing black movie that's not a superhero movie, right, or something like that. And I stopped doing the research. I couldn't find it, but I can guarantee you that they're not $500 million movies. So the industries are looking at this and they're saying these movies are not as profitable as they want them to be. That's why we don't do them. That's why they're not doing them. They have fucking Jon Stewart up on a shelf. Or if they really wanted to do a black superhero movie, they could do Jon Stewart. But you know what happened if they do Jon Stewart? Well, why didn't they do Hal Jordan? Hal Jordan is the Green Lantern. I don't know who Jon Stewart is. They're just doing that to diversify, to make a black Green Lantern. It's gonna come. Not everybody may say that because people know that Jon Stewart is a popular Green Lantern, but it's only comic book nerds and geeks that actually care about the race bending stuff. It's only them. And until they do it, until they make characters, until they make original characters, then I'll go and see a Michael B. Jordan playing Clark Kent. I don't care. Big old show said, keep up the good work. It is what it is, man. I'm trying. And these lines said, were the Blade movies not rated R also? They were. I don't think the last one was. I'm not sure, but the Blade movies were rated R. But back in the day, I mean, it didn't really matter because most of Arnold Schwarzenegger movies were rated R, and those movies were making money. You know what I mean? It was Arnold Schwarzenegger and Will Smith. I'm sorry, Wesley Snipes was at the top of his career when he did Blade. He had Meteor Man, not Meteor Man, Demolition Man. The movie with Sean Connery, Rising Sun, Passenger 57. Wesley Snipes was bankable. And then when Chillmonger sent me the list of the movies that made 500 million, it lost. Blade 1 lost to Lost in Space. Lost in Space, the movie with the fucking Friends dude, Matt LeBlanc, or whatever the fuck his name is. Blade didn't make more money than Lost in Space. Again, Blade was at a time when superhero movies weren't as popular as they were. I get that, 100%. I give you that, right? But a studio is going to look at that regardless. And they're going to assess whether they think it is profitable or not. And if it's not, they're not going to do it. You said Jinx for what? Kindergarten Cop was a good one, but facts on your point. Kindergarten Cop, I mean, I guess, I seen it, went to see it in the theaters, was Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, but I didn't think it was great. It was okay, but it wasn't an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie where he's kicking ass and taking names and Commando and Raw Deal and shit like that, you know what I mean? If they put the effort and respect into movies like they did with Black Panther, it will do well. Don't repeat the mess with Steel. It may, 100%, it may do well. But the studio, you got to understand something, right? So, and I got to check Black Panther's budget on my phone. But my point is, if you're going to put 200 million into a black movie, then you're going to have that movie make 600 million just to break even. And if they go look at the history and see only 2 black superhero movies out of, let's say, even 10, because there's not that many black superhero movies, but 2 out of 10 made that, as a business owner, how would you see that? I've owned a business. I know what it's like. And if you're going to take that kind of risk, you got to be damn well sure that it is going to make money. And if you don't believe me, people say, well, they made Iron Man. Nobody knew who Iron Man was. But go watch the documentary of them making Iron Man and how they talk about how Iron Man was a huge risk. And that if Iron Man did not succeed, we would not have the movies that we have now. Now, I will 100% agree with you that Marvel now has the clout to make some of these movies. They do. They can do it. They can afford to have a couple of mishaps or movies that don't make as much money as they want them to do. They can do that. But do they want to do that? Do they want to take a chance and lose money? They could, but they don't want to because they're not in the business of losing money. These companies are not in the business of losing money. So when they look at the track record, and that's what I'm going with the track record, as slim as it doesn't work out in our favor. Even if they go and they just look at movies that are black movies that aren't superhero movies and look at how much money they made. Is it worth investing $200 million in? $250 million if you got to do research or shit like that? It's not. It's just not. And I'm sick of it. It's like we have this argument where it's like, well, oh, so what? They're not going to be in the toys. They're not going to be in the comic books. But who the fuck cares? Because who buys comic books anymore? Who buys toys anymore? When I was growing up, when I went to the toy store, it was a section. It wasn't like it is now. It's a row. Unless you're going to like a Toys R Us. You know what I mean? But you go to like a Walmart, it's a row. One row of toys. Walmart, well, it wasn't Walmart when it was Zellers, whatever. They had sections of rows. You had the girls' toys, you had the boys' toys, you had the babies' toys, you had all of these toys in a section. Now you have all of these toys in a row, one row, because nobody's buying toys anymore. Nobody's buying comics anymore. If you go and say maybe 3 generations from now, they probably won't even sell comics anymore. Nobody's really buying comics anymore. It's comic book nerds that care about this stuff. But when you go look at it realistically, comic books aren't what they used to be. There used to be a comic book store on every corner up here. Go down the block, there's a comic book store. Go downtown, there's a comic book store. Now you gotta search for a comic book store. So, what else did Matt say here? Marvel made everyone care about a tree with a 3-word vocabulary. I think they did, but they also did that in phase 2, phase 3. I can't remember what phase got. Phase 2, I'm guessing. Do you think that Marvel would have ever fucking started their universe with a Guardians of the Galaxy movie? Absolutely not. Do you think they would have ever started their galaxy with a Black Panther movie? Absolutely not, because there was so much fucking risk in that first movie that they could not start it with those movies. Right? They couldn't do it because it would have been a risk for them to do that. Iron Man was a risk. They were stressed making out Iron Man. They knew that Iron Man had to make money. It had to be a hit. If it was not a hit, we would not have got the movies that we had. It had to be. That's why it was so hard for them to fucking hire Robert Downey Jr. because of the history that he had. Right? Favreau had to fight for him. Terrence Howard had to fight for him to get him on that movie because of the history that I had. Because that movie was very important, and there's no fucking way that they would have started that franchise with a Black Panther movie because the risk would have outweighed the gain. What up, Fado? What's going on? How you doing? So that's my opinion on it. I don't care if you agree with me or not. Nobody is ever going to convince me. Nobody, no matter what you say, is ever going to convince me that we have to have a character the way he was drawn in the comic book, a fictional character. Fictional. I'm not going to walk down my street and ever see Superman saving a cat from a tree. I'm never going to see him fighting Brainiac outside my window. Never going to see it. It's a fictional character. So if you can't tell me that they can't take liberties, it's called... I had the word in my head and I just lost it. But they're basically what they're doing is taking different literations and trying to do something different with it. They do it all the time. They have a comic book where Spider-Man is he was a fucking spider. They turned him into a spider for 5 comics. He had cosmic powers. Went through multiple comic books. Went through the X-Men. Went through Hulk comic books as a cosmic Spider-Man. And ever hear anybody complaining about the Cosmic Spider-Man toys? Oh, there was no Cosmic Spider-Man toys because you know what they did? They took the power away and he went back to being Spider-Man. So they do things like that all the time. They're just taking liberties. They're just trying something different, and I'm okay with that. And just because they made a movie of a black Spider-Man doesn't mean I need to, or a black Superman doesn't mean I need to go to the store and see black Superman toys. You did it. I'll watch it. If it's good, I'll enjoy it. If it's not, I won't. But no, when you're saying why not do Val Zod, well, everybody complains that fucking Miles Morales is a token Spider-Man, and they say it's lazy writing. But you still gotta write a story around that character, right? You may have similarities, but you still gotta write a complete different story around that character. So, is Man of Steel lazy writing? Because the origin story of Superman, give or take a few things, are the same. It's copy, rinse, repeat. The origin story for Spider-Man in Amazing Spider-Man and the Spider-Man are pretty much the same. Different scenarios, but he catches his powers the same way. So is it lazy writing every time they do an origin story? You can say that because they're not really doing anything different but changing the scenes, maybe changing little details of it. But Spider-Man gets bit by a spider. He gets his powers in Spider-Man. Same thing happens in The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Is that lazy writing? Because the same thing that they're doing with making a black Clark Kent, if they were to do that, except you're making him black. But the origin story is probably going to be the same. It's just a different character. So if that's lazy writing, the other one has to be lazy writing as well. Personally, I don't care. Give it to me. For me, it's about giving a black person a time to shine. And if they're not going to do it by making original characters and they're going to do it by race bending, then you know what? At least give that guy the opportunity to shine. That's all I care about. You know what I mean? As long as the movie has nothing, it's not a pandering movie, right? And I've always said this, if you put story first, you can pander anything you want in the movie as long as the story is good. They do it all the time in movies. Star Wars. You know what I mean? Star Wars had, Nazi Germany and all kinds of stuff into it, lore in it. Same thing. George Lucas had the Ewoks winning or fighting because he wanted to show that it was about, a modern society fighting technology. You can go read his documentaries and see his documentaries about that. So they do it all the time, but the story's good, so people will let it pass. But if you're constantly pandering in the movie, then yeah, I'm going to agree with them. Then yeah, okay, yeah. You know what I mean? Superman going around fighting the injustice from the police and all kinds of bullshit like that. Yeah. And that's the point I was trying to make on the OOC before I got cut off. I made a joke about fried chicken and shit. You haven't eaten fried chicken and watermelon. That's pandering too. You know what I mean? Because black people eat other things than fried chicken and watermelon. But, but when you're having all this social justice stuff and this and that, instead of just having a Superman movie, then yeah, I'll agree with that. You're going to pander to me. And I don't need that. But if you were to make, let's just say, the first Superman with Christopher Reeve, and you did that movie, and you had a black Superman, I wouldn't give a shit. And if you did that movie, it would have been a good movie. Because Superman is a good movie. The first Superman is a good movie. Superman 2 is a good movie. You know what I mean? And I know me, personally, I don't know if I can't think of the first movie to do race bend, but the one that comes to my mind is Daredevil. I can't think of any other movie that did it before that. So if you can let me know, that's fine. But for me, Daredevil. They made Kingpin black. Daredevil came out in, I checked it out, I think it was 2003. I was 28. Yeah, almost 20 years. 27, 28, around that, right? So I didn't care that they made him black. But some of the people that are talking about it now were younger than me, like 18-year-olds and stuff like that. And if you were 18-year-old and you were running around complaining that they made Kingpin black, especially when race bending wasn't a thing, I call cap on that. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. And then he killed it as Kingpin. He did a great job. And I know people won't agree with me, but I like him better than the one from Daredevil. Mainly because he's bigger, he has a bigger look. So I like that. But that's just my opinion. You know what I mean? That's just how I feel about it. But again, like, if you don't feel that way, that is fine. But you are not going to convince me that I need to be mad because they made a black character. And I can promise you, and this is not a fact. I don't know this for sure. 100%. I don't know this for sure. It's a speculation. I'm assuming. You could say, you make an ass out of you when you assume, or whatever the saying is. But I honestly believe the first person to ever complain about the race bend was a white person. I'm, I'm 100% sure it was. You know what I mean? I could be wrong, but that's all I think. And you got black people that co-sign it, right? Because no, you can't have a Superman. You can't have a black man playing Superman, the most powerful man in the universe. No, no. That's not how he was written in the comic books. He was written as a white-haired, blue-eyed man. So you can't have a black. That's how you sound to me when you tell me that you can't make Superman Clark Kent back. That's how you sound to me. Sorry, but that's just me. That's how you sound to me. Anybody that says that, argues that, that's how you sound to me. Everyone in the South love fried chicken as long as they're not vegan. It's a big deal meal. Yeah, we do love fried chicken, absolutely. But if you're gonna give me that in the movie where all Superman is doing, that's the first Michael Keaton Batman movie had Harvey Dent played by Billy D. Williams. Yes, exactly. And that movie came out in '89. And I can promise you, I can bet my life on it that there was nobody complaining about that in '89. But we got the internet age where everybody has a mouth and everybody has the right to say what they want to say, and stuff like this gets out of proportion. To me, it's a minority that has this argument. It's the minority. Just like cancel culture is the minority, it's the same thing with this race bending thing. It's the minority. I honestly believe that the normies are who they make these movies for. Contrary to what you want to believe, they do not make these movies for comic book people. They make them for the normies. And I 100% believe that the normies don't care. I believe that the comic book people that go see these movies represents 20 to 30% of the people that go and see these movies. I don't have any numbers to back it up, but that's what I think. I could be wrong. I ain't sitting here saying that what I'm speaking is the truth and I'm right. I could be wrong about that. But until you give me the stats, that's what I think it is. Until we have stats on it, that's what I think it is. I'm sick of the argument. It's annoying to me. It drives me up a wall, right? Because then when you get new characters, Riva, nobody likes them. You know what I'm saying? So no matter what they do, The studios. They make a Calvin Ellis, they make a Val Zod. It's a tokenized Superman. Oh, there's a tokenized Superman. They make Clark Kent black. Oh, they're race bending. It's it's a lose lose situation because they're always going to be arguing. I hear people complaining all the time that Miles Morales is a token Spider Man, and Miles Morales has powers that Spider Man doesn't even have. Now, I don't read the Miles Morales comic books. Again, I consider myself a normie now. I used to be a comic book guy. You know what I mean? I knew who Eternity was. I knew who Guardians of the Galaxy was. I knew who Samson is, or was, or is. I don't even know if he's still in the comic. But those of you who don't know, Samson's the white dude with his green hair. Can't even remember what his power is. All I remember is when Hulk went savage, fucked his ass up. That's what I remember of that. You know? So I used to be into comics. I used to go to the comic store every week and buy the latest comic books. Up until Age of Apocalypse. You know what I mean? And I wasn't really buying the comic books. I was more reading my cousins at that point. And that's because I really enjoyed that storyline. And I found Age of Apocalypse before I actually found out how they got to that stage, which was Professor X's son coming back in time and killing him instead of Magneto, right? So I went back and I read the how it started and I read that storyline. But I wasn't buying comics. I haven't bought comics in years, so I consider myself an normie now. I'm a normie now. That's why I said, like, the ancient one, if you didn't tell me, I would have no idea it was race bent. And I'm pretty sure most of the normies don't. Because when I left um, Doctor Strange, I never heard people complaining about race bending or that's not the ancient one. That's not the ancient one that we got in the comic book. I didn't hear none of that. I didn't hear none of it with Captain Marvel. Was it Marvel? Or whoever it was that they made the woman that was not who was in the comic. Never heard that then. Right? Because I went to the movies and there was normies in the movies and the normies don't know. Normies don't care. They just want to see good movies. That's me. I just want to see a good movie. I don't care. So that's what I'm saying. Like for me, you can say whatever the hell you want to say. It's never going to convince me that it shouldn't be done. Because if you really care so much about having that white Superman, go back and watch the 8 Superman movies they made already. The 6 Batman movies, 7 Batman movies, the cartoons. Go read the comic books. You have it there. You have it. Let them try something different. Who cares? You still have the originals. That's why when people complain about Star Wars all the time, oh, it ruined my childhood. No, just go back and watch the ones you like. Sometimes, and I hate to break it to people, but sometimes they don't make things for you. Sometimes they make things for a different demographic. Hence why you're getting a gay Spider-Man. And when I seen that picture, I wasn't even sure if it was real. But at the end of the day, who cares? Because half of you ain't gonna buy it. It's not made for you. It's not made for me. And sometimes that's okay. It's okay for them to make literations for other people. You know why? Because there's so little of us out there anyways. Can they make new characters? Absolutely, 100%. I never say they can't. But at the end of the day, they can do both. And if you don't like it, you don't have to buy it or you don't have to watch it. But you don't have to sit there and run down people who don't give a shit about it. Or tell people that it's stupid because you don't like it. It's your opinion. You don't like it. But there are people out there like me who will, who don't care. That's all I'm saying. It is what it is. You don't have to like it, but I don't have to not like it because you don't like it. I don't have to see it the same way as you see it because you don't like it. Because I don't, and I never will. Give my people a shine, and I'll be there. Uh, they cast a black girl in the lead of the Acolyte Star Wars show today. Let's see if the Phantom Mentor pulls the same thing they did with Reva. Oh, you see, I didn't even know that. But they probably will. They probably will. Complainers gonna troll. Absolutely, 100%. I'm not a normie. I was hanging about in comic book shops in the '90s, and I just want to enjoy the movies. I'm not going over it with a fine tooth comb. But that's the thing. Like, I just want to enjoy the movies too. And I'm not gonna go into the movies. Oh my god, they made a black Clark Kent. Hmm, that's not how I met him in the comic book. I'm not gonna do that. Because if I want to see a white Clark Kent, I'll go read the fucking comic book. If they were to do that. And they haven't done it. And I think they put that on hold or they cut it off or whatever. I don't care. It's not like I need to see it. But if they did it, I'm not going to complain that they did it. I'm just not going to do that. I mean, but hey, should have thought my headphones were dead, but that's my little rant on it. You know what I mean? Preach on. So, not to me, it's not even about preaching. You know what I mean? It's not even about preaching. It's just the way I feel about it, you know? And it's an argument that I think that is dumb. And it's an argument that I think no one is ever going to change my mind on. Like never. You're never going to change my mind. And first off, they use the word tokenization. They're tokenization. It's tokenization. The fucking word token has nothing to do with race bending, swapping. It has nothing to do with that. The word token, excuse me, the word token was because of the one black man that they would put in a movie to check a box. The black man in a horror movie that's there to die. One that doesn't do shit. You know what I mean? The one black man that's in the movie that doesn't do shit, there to die, whatever you want to call it. That was the token. That's what a token is. A token has nothing to do with race bending. But because someone created the word to use it as that, it gets picking up and taken away from us just like woke was. Right? So I don't ever I'm not going to use the word tokenization anymore, and I definitely try not to use the word woke. Sometimes we talk about situations, gotta say woke or whatever to get your point across, but because I know it does not mean what they use it for, is I don't use the word like that anymore. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. You know, and it's for me, it's just that I'm at the point where, like, because of all the complaining, you got me talking this way. There may be a time where I've been like, yeah, you know, it's not black, but now it's just blah 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 to the point where I'm like, fuck, who cares? They are fictional characters. They are not real life characters, which means a fictional character can be taken liberties with because they are not fucking real. And that's all I'm gonna say about that. That's how I feel about it. That's that's it. I don't care. You know what I mean? So you can argue about it till your face turns blue. You're not gonna convince me. I may not convince any of you. I'm not about trying to convince any of you. If that's the way you think about it, if that's the way you feel about it, more power to you. But you can argue till the cows come home, and I'm not gonna fall for it. I'm not gonna fall for it. Don't care. Every shade of hot. Instead, you're going to complain about people complaining. Excellent. Yeah. You know what? Yeah, I am going to complain about complete complaining because it causes arguments that I don't think are necessary. You know what I mean? It causes arguments that are not necessary. We're arguing about fucking fictional characters, shit that is not real. They had a Russian Clark Kent. I don't give a fuck if they chocolate dip him. They did have a Russian Clark Kent, right? But he was still white, so that doesn't matter. He's still a white guy. I'm on your side. The whole thing is silly. Well, thank you, Dandelion. I appreciate it 100%. I know there are people aren't, you know. I know there's people that are probably watching me saying, this guy's talking shit. You know what I mean? Wanting to come on and debate me about it. But you can debate me, you can argue, you can bring up there's no other literation of them. You're going to go back to being white in the comic. There's nothing you can say. Nothing you can say that's going to ever make me think that it's wrong or lazy writing or a bad idea. It's just not. So that's my opinion on that. You know, is what it is. And I've talked about it for 41 minutes. And to be honest with you, it's good to get out because it's been bugging me for a few days to where I just had to, like, I just got to speak my piece on it. And I'm done about it. You want to argue about it, you want to say why it's stupid and this and that, go right ahead. I'm not going to entertain it anymore. Not going to entertain it anymore. You know, it's just one of those things that has me extremely frustrated to the point where I just like, I don't care. Because it sounds like oh well, it's Superman, so you can't have a black man playing Superman because it's the most powerful man in the world, and it's unbelievable. Now that's not what they're saying, but that's how it sounds to me. Yeah, you can't have a black man playing Superman. Superman's the most powerful man in the world. That's how it sounds to me. It's rah 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 blah 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 blah. I don't care, type of stuff. Nick Fury hasn't gone back to being a white guy. He went black and hasn't gone back. Yeah, exactly. They made him that black first in the comic before they did in the movies. So I guess that's okay, right? It's okay to make him black in the comic first, but it's not okay to do it in a movie because you know why? Because when they do it in the movie, they're not going to make the comics or the toys of him being black, so it's irrelevant. No, it's not irrelevant. It's an interpretation that someone wanted to make. I'm cool with that. So that's just my opinion on it. Agree? Disagree? I've told you many times, I don't care. And I won't care. So you're talking to a dead horse when you're trying to convince me why it's stupid or why it's wrong. Those are your opinions, not mine. So now let's get into this movie that I was dying to see. Nope. I don't know if Perp is here, but I know Perp's seen it. Perp said he loved it. I'm with you, darling. Yeah, I know. I know you guys are with me. But there are a few that ain't. It is what it is. I know Danny would agree with me. I'm not trying to speak out for the man or anything like that, but we've had this conversation, so I know he would agree with me as well. The rest of them, I don't know. I know LB don't. I know Chillmonger don't. I know Ashley don't. But it is what it is. You ain't gonna convince me otherwise. But like I was saying, I wanted to like this movie. I wanted Nope to be one of the best horror movies I've ever seen. I wanted it to be the best movie of the year for reasons. You know what I mean? Black horror movie. But, and I'm not going to spoil it because I know a lot of people haven't seen it. Like, I seen it on Thursday. It just came out today. So I'm not going to spoil it. I'm not going to, like, spoil the movie. I'm just going to talk about my impressions of it. And first off, I think it's like 20 minutes too long. It's 2 hours and 11 minutes. I think it's about 20 minutes too long. When I am in a movie and I look at my watch, that means that the movie is dragging and it's just not doing it for me. Now, maybe I did go in thinking that it was going to be a full out horror movie, and it really wasn't that. You know what I mean? But I mean, it's a Jordan Peele. It's supposed to be horror movies, right? That's what I'm going to see, and I really think he dropped the ball when it came to jump scares, because the audience that I was in there with, they were ready to be fucking scared. They were ready to scream because there's a certain scene where something happens and you could hear the anticipation. It's like, and you could hear it, and then nothing happens. And I'm like, well, that's a missed opportunity right there, bro. That was a missed opportunity for a jump scare. There's a backstory in the movie that I think it's just not relevant. It's no relevance to the movie. And I, someone explained something to me, and I'll go back and watch it. But I think by this point, I was like so out of this movie that if it was trying to make the point, I missed it. I think Jordan Peele is starting to become the next M. Night Shyamalan with his movies. It just didn't do it for me. The, I don't know if that's spoiling it or anything, but the the thing, what happens to it, I was just like, that's it. That's how they do it. That's it. Like, it was underwhelming. It was so underwhelming, and I was looking forward to, you know, having my own jump scares. You know what I mean? Seeing something cool, and it was just da 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 da. Something's happening. Da 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 da. There's one thing with camera dude, and it's not really a spoiler, but there's a camera guy, whatever, and it made no fucking sense what he did. None. Like, what the fuck are you doing? What was the point of that? Right? Again, I'm trying to do this without spoiling the movie because I know a lot of you didn't see it, but the thing goes from eating one thing then to eating another thing. And I say, well, why? Why all of a sudden are you doing this when you were doing this through the whole movie? I don't get it. I just, man, I've been seeing on Twitter that people saying their audience walked out during a certain part of the film. Um, I wouldn't know what part that is. Nobody really walked out in a certain part on when I was seeing it, but it was boring. The acting is good. Like the scene in the commercial where they're clapping hands, it's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. When you get the context of the movie, I cracked up. It was funny because I could see that. You know what I mean? Like the way they did it, it was funny. I laughed. There were some good funny moments in the movie, but there was no scary moments in the movie whatsoever. Nothing. Like, I'm the type of person, when I used to go to the movies with my son's mother, I used to take her just because I know she would scream at everything. You know what I mean? I love that shit. That shit. And so when that theater was ready to fucking scream, because I like scaring people. You know what I mean? I like sneaking up at someone, boo, and watch them jump and shit like that. So when you're in this movie, you're waiting for the jumps. I like to be jump scared. I'm waiting for it. There was none. Get Out was good. Us wasn't good. And now this one, this is not good. Chillmonger, I mean, Perp liked it. Like, hey man, I'm glad you liked it. But I know when I get close to the end of the movie, I was looking at my watch. I'm like, okay, this movie's time to end. All right. And I think if you would have cut out about 20 minutes, I wouldn't have felt that way. And then I'm reading that it was supposed to be like a 3.5 hour movie, and I'm like, no, no, I seen enough. I do not need to see any more of this movie. Maybe it would have explained the backstory a little bit more, right? And I'll just say this because not a spoiler, but the backstory has to do with the Asian guy who played Glenn from The Walking Dead. Backstory has to do with him, but it goes nowhere. There may have been a point to it, but it went right over my fucking head. I'm not gonna lie. I think it's because I had done checked out. You know what I mean? Like at a certain point, I was sitting there and I was getting restless, and I'm just like, okay. Will something happen now? I think the actors did a great job. I enjoyed the actors. You know, there's a scene in the clip where they show them in the baseball field, and there's a woman there with a mask over her face, and then it kind of shows her face, and it's all kind of fucked up. And I was like, "Ooh, yeah, we're gonna get something with that." Yeah, nothing, nothing at all. I mean, I know how it happened, right? We know how it happened. They tell us how it happened, but yeah, nothing. Anzo is Dennis the Menace. um, Explain how I'm Dennis the Menace. Maybe it's the race swapping top, but I keep thinking of Dennis the Menace to society. Have a good night, run. Everyone stop to good round. Thanks, Dandelion. Have a good night. Thank you for popping in. Much appreciated. Cause you enjoy jump scares. Oh, I do. I do. When I go to see a horror movie, I want the jump scares. I want to see the people around me get jump scared. You know what I mean? Hey, Poe, thanks for popping in. I ain't forget about you, eh? 31st, right? I ain't forget about you. Just to let you know. So, but yeah, I want to see these things, and there was none of it in this movie. You know, it was bland. I really left there thinking I just walked out of fucking. Is it The Happening? The M Night Shyamalan movie called The Happening? Yeah, 30th, 31st. But you said around that time, so I know. I ain't forget about you, bro. Don't worry. Um, but yeah, so like, just it just left me underwhelmed. Really did. Now I'm gonna watch it again on Onzo Vision. I ain't going to pay to watch that movie again. I'll watch it again on Onzo Vision and see if maybe it'll keep my interest, or maybe I'll see things that I didn't see before. They do say you should see it in the movie in IMAX. I did not see it in IMAX, but I'm pretty sure I didn't miss anything. You know what I mean? I just a bigger screen. Maybe you do. You know what I mean? But I didn't feel like seeing it in IMAX. I didn't feel like spending the money for IMAX on that one when I wasn't 100%. Like, for me to spend the money on IMAX, that should be like a Star Wars movie or Marvel movie or DC movie or something like that. Like a regular old movie in IMAX just doesn't need to be done. I seen the trailer for John Wick 4 and I'm like, this is fire. But I don't know if I'll see it in IMAX. I'll see it in a regular theater. But yeah, so that's my opinion of Nope. I'll give it, because I didn't hate it. I didn't hate it. So I give it 6 out of 10. Yeah, I'll give it a 6 out of 10. I think 6 out of 10 is decent enough. Again, it's not great, but I give it 6 out of 10. I mean, I've been on here for about an hour. If you guys have any questions, if you want to talk about something, I know Chillmonger said he wanted the link to come in so he could talk about his side of the race bending. If you still want to, you can. It's not a problem. I'm just personally done with the topic. I've been hearing good and bad reviews on the movie. Yeah, let's do that. Do what? The link you talking? 'Cause that popped up real quick. All right, I'm gonna send it to you. I'm gonna send it to you. There we go. There we go. And I got a questions, comments. Anybody got any questions? Want to know what I think about certain things? Oh, I'm gonna say this. Hold on. For whatever reason, I found it funny, so I was kind of trolling some Snyderverse fans because of the so-called um, Jim Lee saying that they're not doing anything with the Snyderverse. But let me be real clear. I would have trolled the other side just as much if they had said that they are going to make the Snyderverse. It was just fun. It's just something fun to do. But at the end of the day, I've always said I don't care if Snyder gets his reverse, his universe restored or not. I didn't really care. And in comes the man of the hour,
What's
Chill
up?
Monk. What's going on?
Doing good. Listen, bro.
Hmm.
I did a video and I'm like, all right, cool. We were just chatting about
I
this and
watched
shit.
it. I watched
Okay,
it. I
cool, cool,
watched
cool. You watched it.
it. Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah. I
noticed
watched
the
it.
color of this sofa that I'm sitting on? It's not. It's a
It's
dark.
black now.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it's black. It for a little bit in time, it was a little bit lighter, and then I said no, back to normal. Just like
Hmm.
Magneto, just like Professor X. Yeah, they could be black for one movie, but when they do that cartoon, they're all going to be white again. The next time they do the
Hmm.
show, they're all white again. Green
Hmm.
Lantern, we all love Jon Stewart. He's cool. I saw him on the Justice League TV show. I'm like, oh, Green
Hmm.
Lantern's a black superhero. You know what happened the next time they did an animated thing? It was Hal Jordan. And I go, why is there a white guy as Green Lantern? Oh, it was actually originally always a white guy. I hate
Hmm.
finding out things like that. That oh, they did the race swap, but then the whole time it's actually a white guy playing this character. Race swapping, race bending, that kind of stuff is not a long term s- plan.
Hmm. And I'm
And I
okay with
want
that.
long term plans. I like what happened with Storm. I like how she just consistently is always on the team. She isn't just there for attendance. She actually has lines. Sometimes she'll be the most important person in an episode.
Hmm. And to your point, for
Mhm.
every one storm, there's 10 bishops.
You're right,
There's
and
10
it's
black
wrong.
characters
Yeah,
that don't do nothing. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
yeah, she was a popular character, and yeah, she. But it also has to do with people gravitating to that character, right? That's why she was popular, because not just because they threw in her face, but people also gravitated to that character.
I
People
think
don't
that plays a
gravitate to
part
the
too.
bishop.
So you're gonna
Hmm.
have the bishops who they're not they're there, right? Maybe, but they're not consistently used the way Storm was though, and it maybe didn't have the best
I'll
story.
agree with that. I'll agree
Oh,
with that. But
I will
I think the Age of Apocalypse story was the best story
Bishop.
with Bishop. Yeah, I think it was the best one, and I think that's where I started liking it. You know what I mean?
I'll tell you
So,
what, that Age of Apocalypse story of Bishop is solely responsible for his relevance. That's why he's consistently being used because of that one good story from all those years
hmm.
back that
Hmm.
that kept him here. He'll never be like a D-lister, but he'll stay that C-list X-Men.
Hmm. Hmm. And I agree. And me personally, if you were to tell me I could get a black Superman or a D-lister Blade, D-lister Bishop,
Huh?
like what they did with him in the X-Men movies, because in Days of Future Past, he was useless. He was useless. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see Bishop useless. I want to see him doing something.
I'm
You
not
know what I
saying
mean?
make him useless. I am saying make him useful.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying if I had the choice of that or to see them take Clark Kent and make him black, and I know he's going to be useful, give me that one instead of giving me a useless Bishop.
Okay, you do that now, and then 20 years later, we're really old. We're like
Mhm.
the new film franchise, and we're in the same position we were always in. Superman is still up here, and Bishop is still down here, and we'll just like complete will complete another loop of a cycle of, well, there's not enough black superheroes who are treated usefully, so just give me a white one, just paint his skin color black. Like what? No, I want to reverse this, and it's gonna take some time. Like if we
Mm-hmm.
can uplift Monica Rambeau right now to from where she was a few years ago, which was who
Mm-hmm.
knows who Monica Rambeau is, but now she's
Mm-hmm.
popping in movies and Disney Pluses, and if we can do something with her in this iteration of the films, when they restart the films, they'll be like, "Oh, we're casting a new Iron Man. Cool. I wonder who's going to be that because Robert Downey really made that character a thing." I wonder also who's going to be Monica Rambeau. She might not be the second or third name we think of, but eventually we'll start thinking about who's going to be the Monica Rambeau because of what Teyonah Paris is doing with this character, with the studio, how they're utilizing her. Depending on how good they do, you might have another character up there in the upper echelon or mid echelon. Let's get there. Let's get from lower tier to mid. We're not just gonna go from zero to hero. But with Storm, she did go from zero to hero. She went from
Mm-hmm.
just this new character, just chilling with Thunderbird was there, and Nightcrawler was there,
Mm-hmm.
Colossus was there, like, all these characters. But she shines. I would put her
Mm-hmm.
above Colossus, wouldn't you?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
She was the leader of the X-Men at one point. You know what I mean?
yeah. You
She
talk
was
about
the
X Men
leader.
issue 201 when she whooped Cyclops' ass, right?
Right. Yes. And she became
Was
the
it
leader.
201?
I don't know. I don't know if that was the number, but you know the comic I'm talking about. She does whip Cyclops' ass, and she becomes the leader of the X-Men. And she was the leader for a while. Like for a while, she was the leader of the X-Men. I'm cool with that. You want to give me that in the movies? Great. But my point is the fact that they're not doing it, I'm not gonna shit on what they're gonna do because at the end of the day, at least one of us gets a shine. You know what I mean? When they do it, then I'll be like, this is what they should have been doing all the time. I will probably say that. But because they're not doing it, I'm not going to shit on it because they're not doing
I, I can see the compromise that you're offering me, and I'll take it.
it. Right? And I got a bone to pick with you because you a comic book guy. And you had no idea that fucking Stan Lee wanted to call the X-Men the mutants before it was the X-Men. You didn't know that.
I know I didn't know. I had no idea about that. But the thing is, like, I only can go off of what you actually publish. It's similar to what happened with Ms. Marvel. I'm gonna kind of dance around, but I'll get back to your point. Ms. Marvel is a mutant, but the creator said something like, "Well, she was supposed to be, she's an Inhuman. She was supposed to be a mutant."
Yeah.
And I go,
Mhm.
like, "What? You guys think that's a good reason? Like, everything that they ever did. If they had like 10 issues talking about her origin in clues, and some of those were like mutant clues, and then on issue 11 they've actually decided let's make her an Inhuman, then you can say, oh, what we're actually going to do now is do it right because the plan was to make her a mutant, but then the story changed. No, from issue one, Kamala inhales some Terrigen mist. She's an Inhuman, and there's no ifs, ands, or buts or questions about it.
Mhm.
Her interactions with mutants have been like she fought Inhumans versus X-Men. She was part of that fight. She is not a mutant at all. There's nothing in the
Mhm.
story. I think ideas during that phase where you're just like jotting down things, maybe even drawing a couple of suits when you're doing that stuff. Yeah, you're just throwing things at the wall, see what sticks. Just because you have a draft of something doesn't mean like it holds any value to me. There's no weight to Stan Lee saying I was going to call them the mutants, but then I went with the X-Men because they're Xavier's team.
No, but that's not why. The reason why he didn't call them X-Men is because his boss wouldn't, the mutants, because his boss wouldn't let him. His original plan was to call them the mutants, and the boss was like, no, I don't like that name. Name is something else. And then he went to X-Men, right?
Okay.
So he had them as the mutants. That was the name for them. That was his name for them until someone higher up told him he couldn't.
Oh, that someone higher up is part of the decision-making process, and it's Marvel who makes the decision, not just Stan solely. They are mutants, and we can use that. But when he says to me, my X-Men, it's not my mutants.
No, but he wanted them to be the mutants, though. That's what I'm saying. So even the fact that it was a higher up, yes, you are correct. He has say in how the comic books come out or whatever. But the original creator wanted to call them the mutants. So I have no issues with them calling them the mutants in the movie. Plus, it also shows me that maybe we're gonna get more than just the X-Men, right? Plus, we don't even know who the original X-Men are going to be. We don't know which X-Men they're going to use. We don't even know if Storm is going to be there because she wasn't an original X-Men.
Yes, but you're making like a fan theory based off of what you think is the reason they're not using X-Men. It's because it has the word men in it. It's an outdated term.
But that's a theory you're making too. You don't know that unless Stanley told you that or someone told you that. You don't know that either.
This is where I will shock and surprise you because you don't know what I'm going to share my screen and show you. I'm not sharing my screen, am I? No.
Not yet. Thanks, Bert.
Mads Mamba Bear wants to know about your long sleeve shirts. I want to know too now that I'm interested.
Where did you see that?
She said something about you're always wearing shorts.
You're always you're in a heat wave and you're in long sleeve shirt. When are we gonna see you sleeveless? Well, you'll never see me sleeveless because you just won't. You'll see me in short sleeve shirts. I've worn short sleeve shirts, but yeah. I just grabbed a shirt. That's all. That's the only reason. All right. Let's hear.
Ready? Okay. Let's play.
Turned out to be pretty phenomenal.
So you guys have a lot of toys to play with now in the future, including the X-Men, right?
Yes.
Could you, of course you can't tell me much, but can you give me a little hint of what the future is coming? Where is the future going and excitement?
I don't know where the future is going. It's funny that people call it the X-Men. There's a lot of female superheroes in that X-Men group, so I think it's outdated. I don't know where it's gonna go. We'll see. Did you
hear what she said about?
Yeah, but who is she?
Victoria Alonso is an executive producer in Marvel. She's pretty important to the show, to the whole operation.
Okay.
And this was in 2019. They were talking about the Captain Marvel Blu-rays and stuff. She said that it's an outdated term. Yeah. What are you gonna do?
Okay. That could be her opinion, right? That could be her opinion. Maybe she has enough.
Dark Phoenix was just called the Dark Phoenix. The word X-Men was stripped from it. Okay, that's step one. And then here comes this rumor that Deadline found out it's going to be called The Mutants, and you go, huh? Okay, I guess men is too. You can have She-Hulk, like those. That's okay, but men is not inclusive.
I can give you that. I can give you that.
Yeah, you didn't know about that. Now that sounds like some pretty strong evidence.
I can give you that. I can give it. It's strong evidence. It still doesn't necessarily mean it's so. But yes, I can give you the evidence on that one to where it's like, yeah, that could be a possibility why they didn't do it. It could be.
It's so weird though that you have the word men in women. Like after the WO, it's got the MEN inside there. It's not a thing that we're kicking out women. We're not making women feel included because we're going by X-Men. But she feels that way. Maybe English isn't her first language, and she's like, "Oh,
it's stupid logic." I agree with you. It's stupid logic. I don't see why it's wrong to call a woman a queen, right? Because they have this movie where the Warrior King with Viola Davis or whatever, and they call it King. People are complaining that it's a bunch of women army, but they call her a king.
Valkyrie.
I don't see. Valkyrie was the king, of Asgard. So I get all of that. I, again, don't care, but I get it. I think she was under the influence when she said that. Yeah, it's a stupid thing to say, right? It's a stupid thing to say. It's dumb. It's the name of the group. It is what it is, right? But because it's X-Men, it's like, oh, well, it's only X-Men, but there's women in there. Yes, we know that. That's nothing new. We know that. And we have some great women in X-Men, right? And I hope that they go with the most popular lineup, which is Gambit, Rogue, Storm, Cyclops, Jean Grey, put Wolverine in there as well, and Beast. I hope that's the team that they go with. I'm just not sure that's the team that they're going to go with.
Yeah. You watch wrestling, you know when they do an Iron Man match? If a woman does it, would you consider it a women's Iron Man match, or would you consider Iron Women's match?
I would consider an Iron Man's match. It is what it is.
Yeah, that's the name of the stipulation. You're right.
Yeah.
You disassociate the whole like branding of gender to the word. You're just saying that's what it's called. The team is called the X-Men. I'm not associating the brand. I'm the same way. Some people say Iron Women. It's all good. I don't really have a strong opinion on it, but I feel like even in the Olympics, they have the Iron Man competition. The decathlon, I think, is the Iron Man. They've got a nickname for it. And a woman competes in an Iron Man.
Yeah, yeah. I agree. I don't have an issue with it, right? But we know that all of this is the gender, this and that. You know what I mean? You got to pronouns and all of that shit. So we know that that's the situation with certain things. And I'm inclined to agree with you on the X-Men thing now because of that video. I just think, like I said, hey, they wanted to call it mutants, but you're right. They're like, you know what? You wanted to call it mutants. We can get rid of the X-Men and call it the mutants. So I could agree with that.
Ugh.
Mystic Shadow said the mutants is what Stanley wanted to call the X-Men in the first place. Yeah, that's what I was saying. I did say that. You know what I mean? But I don't. At the end of the day, chill. To be honest with you, I think comic book fans, geeks, and nerds are the ones that care about these things more than anybody else. And because I'm more of a normie now than anything, I don't care. Just give me a good movie. That's all I care about. Just make it good, entertaining. I don't care.
Mhm.
Too much things to be worrying about than to worrying about whether, they took off the X-Men because they thought that X-Men is gender bias or whatever.
I agree with you, and I am still gonna call it the X-Men, even though the movie's gonna call it the Mutants. I'm gonna say the X-Men movie. I do that all the time. Captain Marvel 2 is coming out next July. It's not the Marvel, it's Captain Marvel 2. Let's be real. She's getting paid the exact same rate she got paid for her first movie. She'll have the exact same lines. It's Captain Marvel 2.
Yeah, and hopefully, we'll get a Monica Rambeau movie, and that's why I say, like, right now, because people like to bring up, well, Iron Man, not Iron Man, Black Panther was popular. Black Panther was this. Yeah, I know. I seen that. I voted on that one. I
Which one did
voted
you
the
vote?
mutants. I voted
You're
the
the one.
mutants.
You're one of the 41.
I voted the mutants.
But to
Yeah.
your point, like me and you are, or you're more casual than maybe I would consider myself. There's a lot more of
Mhm.
those casual guys who are just like, okay, we're gonna go with the mutants. That's what the poll says. And
Mhm.
the people who are gonna stick with the X-Men, we're in the minority.
Mhm. And that's what I'm saying, and that's what I say about the race bending thing too. I say the minority is comic book fans and whatever, but the normies, we don't care, because half of the normies had no idea that fucking the ancient one was race bent and gender swapped. We didn't know that unless you told me. You know what I mean? So I think people don't really care. I think it's just the argument, like the cancel culture. It's a small minority, but they're loud.
But there is something to my long-term point, like to get some black characters or characters who just aren't white. So if we're using Ancient One as an example, to get these characters into I don't know, a popular place, we do need to have them used. Plus, we need them
I
in the
agree.
leading role. So what they're doing with
Hmm.
Shang-Chi and Ten Rings, I hope he gets a sequel. I hope he gets so many appearances, and when he's in the team with the Avengers, I hope he's not the seventh guy on the roster. I hope
Hmm.
he's actually contributing, has the coolest scenes to where we go, oh, Marvel's doing a new universe, the 2CU. Oh, they're doing the 2CU. Okay, it's year 2038. The 2CU is starting. Who are they going to cast as Shang-Chi? And then we're going to be talking about, oh, do you remember that kid? Nah, he's too young. He was just doing Disney Channel. What about this guy here? No, he would be the perfect casting. And we would like need to have a Shang-Chi so that when they do their first Avengers movie of that new film universe, that circle shot isn't so Caucasian anymore. Except for the Hulk was
Hmm.
green. The Hulk was green.
And I agree with you. I'm fine with that, 100%. If you're gonna give us the characters, I think, yeah, you prop them up 100%. And I think Marvel has a better chance of doing that because they already have this, their movies are going to make 500. People always say Marvel movie, just because it has the Marvel name on it, probably going to make $500 million, right? So they have the opportunity to take these kind of risks. I agree with you. Marvel can do it. They can take the risk. I think DC, on the other hand, has to be a little bit more selective because their movies aren't considered good. Their movies are considered flops, and if you look at their profit margin, it's going down with each movie, right? So I think they have to be a little bit more careful. And that's why I said, like, they can do John Stewart. You got, I think, three characters that I think that they could take a chance on, which is John Stewart. I think they could take a chance on Steel and Martian Manhunter. I think Martian Manhunter would be the least out of the two, but I think a Steel movie or John Stewart is a movie that they could take a risk on. But now you got to check on it. Now, if you make a Green Lantern movie, you're gonna have to put effects in that movie, which you're gonna have to spend at least $200 to $250 million on that movie, which means it's going to have to make about $600 million just to break even. And these studios don't see these movies. Yes, the studios don't see these movies making that type of money. It's a risk for them. So that's why I think it's a little bit harder for them to do it.
Static Shock is coming.
Is it? Is it going to be a movie?
They say they keep saying so. They announced that fandom, that first fandom, and every fandom since, but it's not really coming.
Exactly. I've heard about it like years ago. Yeah, Static Shock is coming, but where is Static Shock? You know, we can't even get a Miles Morales live action movie. A lot of people say that Miles Morales is the token Spider-Man. He's a knockoff Spider-Man. So if you think they did a Calvin Ellis or a Val Zod, they wouldn't say the same thing about them?
Yeah, they would be knockoffs of an original. I would prefer someone who's just not related to another superhero like that. Like the way Static isn't related to anybody.
Oh, you see, and I can get that, but the argument when I said if they did Clark Kent, people were saying, well, do Val Zod or do Calvin Ellis. And I'm like, but he's still a token character. So whichever way you do it, it's going to end up being the same thing. They're going to be like, they made this knockoff Superman. He's a token Superman. And then they're going to say that Black Clark Kent is a race-bent Superman. So it's a lose-lose situation in that situation. You know what I mean?
It's a lose-lose with those lose-lose options. I mean, give me. I'm over here saying, give me Icon and Rocket. Give me characters who, yes, like Superman, they're super sturdy. He can fly, but he's still somewhat of a unique character and has nothing to do with Krypton. And his weakness isn't Superman's weaknesses. He's got an originality to him, and that's what I would prefer. Martian Manhunter, though, of your ideas, I like that one the most.
Yeah, Martian Manhunter would work. Original character. I think they could prop him up there properly. You know, and I think a Martian Manhunter movie doesn't have to be a $200 million budget. You could do that on a $80 million, $100 million budget, right? Side effects could, special effects could be limited in that.
Shazam was $100 million budget, and then they made $300 million back, which is so disappointing. I liked Shazam. I thought it should have made more, but it was sandwiched right between Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel, and Avengers Endgame. And because it was in that April release, that just too bad, man. It just wasn't gonna make the money it should have made.
So you think it would have made money if it was released differently?
Yeah, if it was a summer release and it wasn't between two superhero films, yeah.
Maybe. I think it was good, but I don't think it was that great as people make it out to be. I think it had a lot of issues that I personally found troublesome. Like, I figured Shazam was more of an adult as a kid than he was when he had the powers. I had a real issue with that. You know what I mean? When he had powers, he was like a little fucking kid. He was like a kid. But when he was a kid, he was like an adult. And I'm just like, nah, that's not how it works. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So...
Well, for me, I had an extra enjoyment, and maybe you can agree, Mama Bear, but it was shot in Toronto, so I'm looking like, I recognize that background. Ooh, that highway overpass. I know that. I know where that is. Yep.
Oh, shot in Toronto? Oh,
yeah.
I didn't even know that. No, I can understand that. I can get that. You know what I mean? I remember there's a Bruce Willis movie, The Jackal, that was here in Montreal, and every time I see the end fight scene, it's fucking a metro station that I frequent all the time, you know, so I can understand seeing that shit. But Mr. Shadow said Superman had originally, but then Zod, then a cousin, then a brother, and 2 kids. Okay.
And his cousins, what's her name? The Supergirl, Kara El.
Yeah. Which is a knockoff Superman, right? And I'm just saying, back in the day, like, people will say, you know, they did it with Kingpin. People say, well, yeah, I complained about that. That's capping. Nobody complained about that when that happened because race bending wasn't a thing then. So for people to be sitting there saying, I complained, I didn't like it, you're capping. That's bullshit. Race bending wasn't a thing. No one cared about it then. You know what I mean? But internet comes on, and I said this earlier, maybe you agree with me or not, but I said
I agree.
I personally believe yes, the first person to complain about race bending was a white dude. I 100% agree with that. I think that. You know what I mean? So,
Hmm.
and then I think you just have some black people that take onto it. And I'll never go with that. I'll never do it. Now, if you want to say you have Superman and he's a KKK fucking supremacist, and then you want to make that Superman black, then I'll be like, yeah, that's stupid. That makes no sense. You know what I mean? So if it doesn't change for me, if it doesn't change who the character is, like if his color has nothing to do with Professor X's color, has nothing to do with him being Professor X, I don't have a problem with the change. And I actually think that the guy that they get, or that they want,
Giancarlo Esposito.
yes, I think he would kill it.
Uh-huh.
I think he would kill it as
I
Professor X.
Yeah, but I just to repeat myself, it would be the same thing with Kingpin. He was dark skinned for one movie, and then we got the Vincent D'Onofrio version. Like so, long term, Kingpin is we have a black guy doing all the labor to uplift a white character because the next iteration he's going to be white. He's always going to be white. I want black characters to get up there.
And I can agree with that 100%. I want them up there too. I don't have a problem with it. But I also think, and I know people say it's the one from the Daredevil series, but I think Kingpin, Michael Clark Duncan, was a better Kingpin. I just think he was. I think he looked the part more than the one from the Daredevil. I think that's my biggest issue with the one from the Daredevil when he just looks like a regular old big fat dude. You know what I mean? But when you put Michael Clark Duncan in that suit, he looks like Kingpin. You know, so I think that's why I like him better. But I didn't care. I enjoyed it. The movie, you see, for me, the Daredevil movie is a bad movie, but it has nothing to do with the race swap. Why it's bad, you know. I could say the same thing about Fan Four Stick. I think Michael B. Jordan was the best part of that movie.
Nice.
The movie was garbage, right? It's not saying much, but he was the best part of that movie. Nothing else was good about it. So sometimes you can do it in a way where it works. Gordon in the Batman movie, it works.
He's white, and
No,
that didn't help uplift the character pantheon of Batman. We didn't use any black characters from there, and so we're we're not better off as a we're not better off. Period.
right, for you.
In
But
the
do you
long run,
think
we're
the
not.
normies? But do you think normies actually even knew that Gordon's white?
Yeah, because we've had Gordon in all of the Batman movies. Normies know. If you know who Batman is, you probably watched him interact with the police commissioner.
Right, in the movies. So most of these people don't read comics, so it's like, oh well, maybe he was originally black. Like they don't know that he's originally white, right? They didn't know that Harvey Dent was supposed to be white when they did 89.
Okay, look, if you are like a young person, maybe 18, 19, and this was the first movie of Batman you watched, fine, I'll give you that. But if you're a normie and you're
Right,
like in your 30s, 40s, of course you know that Commissioner Gordon was a white guy and they decided to go black this time. If you're paying attention.
right.
Ray
I
asks
agree
you
with you.
whether or not
You would know. Oh,
Ray wants to know if you should watch Nope.
I did. Should I not watch? No. Oh, should you? No, I would say watch it. I would say watch it. Perp liked it. I didn't. I don't think it's horrible. I think I'll say it drags for me. It drags. Hey,
I'll check it out.
go see
I
it.
haven't seen it.
I wanted to make money, so go see it. I'm not gonna tell you not to. It's a black movie, right? I'll tell you to go support it. Absolutely, 100% support the movie. I just say, me personally, it wasn't what I thought it was gonna be. So
Oh,
if you're gonna go into it straight up horror movie, don't. What the hell happened there? There we go. If you're gonna think it's like a straight up horror movie, don't. It's more of like I said, I compare it to The Happening. You know what I mean? The M. Night Shyamalan movie, The Happening, I compare it to that. It's more like that type of movie. Perp said, I think you need to watch it a second time. I feel like it might be his best. I think I'll know after a rewatch of all three movies. Ooh, I still think Get Out is his best, and I would
Us.
put it on the same level as Us, because I didn't really like Us too much either. You know what I mean? And I don't know. I guess I just, hey Perp, if you want to come in and talk about it for a bit, you can without spoiling it or whatever. But I just think personally that it was kind of dragged in a lot of situations. You know, so um, not yet, Ray. I've been preparing for my desk coming in. I'm an advocate for forming your own opinion, though. Oh yes, if she watched, no. I'm not sure who many seen it, but nah, The Happening was terrible. Yeah, The Happening was terrible. That's my point. Like I literally was looking at my watch, right? When it, you know when you get into the climax of a movie, right? I looked at my watch to see how long the climax of the movie was gonna be. Because by that time I was ready to go. I was like, finally, let's get into it so that I can get out of here. Like that's how I felt about it. Like it had some really good moments, and I think it drops the ball by not having enough jump scares in it, like I said earlier. But other than that, man, it's not horrible, but it's just not wasn't wasn't for me.
Hmm.
Wasn't for me. Send me the link. I'll join shortly. All right.
I think
Oh,
Us had the best
copy.
trailer.
Us did have a really good trailer.
And
I
this
really.
trailer, from what I've seen, I tried not to watch too much from the Nope trailer, but I saw the spaceship flying saucer. I saw them on horses. I know that the two characters are brother sister siblings, and Stephen Ewan is casted. I like that guy,
Mhm.
Glenn. All right, we
Yeah, me
we,
too.
we got something here. So every
Hmm.
time I see it in the trailer, I'd kind of turn my eyes, or maybe just like, don't worry, I'll get the full experience I'm supposed to get it because I know I'm gonna watch this movie. So with expectations, I don't really have much. I think I'll be good here.
You see, that's the thing. I had expectations. I think that was my problem. I had expectations to go in there thinking that I was gonna see some shit. I was gonna have jump scares. I was gonna be like, yeah. And then I saw what I saw, and I was like, had some good moments, had some funny moments. Like I laughed at certain things, you know what I mean? But it gets to a point where you're watching it and you're just like, okay, can we move on with it now? You know, and that's what I have. But I mean, I'll tell you all to go see it. I'm gonna say this. I hope it does well in the box office because the only way we're gonna get these type of movies is if they do well. They have to
Yeah.
do well, or else, you know what I mean? We're not gonna get more black movies. I said it earlier when Boys in the Hood and those type of movies came out, they were doing well. So we got these movies like every month. There's Boys in the Hood, Menace to Society, Jersey Drive, um, South Central. Then you had the, Soul Foods and Best Man and all these things. They were kicking up in the 90s. So we got a lot of these movies. But when they died down, so did the movies. You know what I mean? Like the last black movie I seen was The Harder They Fall, and that was on Netflix. They didn't even
Mm.
bring that out in the theater. I mean, it was during the pandemic and stuff like that, so I pretty much, but I
You
don't
weren't
think it would
going
have
to the
came out in
theater.
theaters, even if it was right. And I'm not sure if it was gonna even come out in theaters, even if we weren't in the pandemic. They would have still put it on Netflix, So I don't know, man. I just want to see more of these things, and like I said, unless we go and support them, we're not gonna go see them. So I'll support it. I did, and I'll tell everyone else to go support it.
Us was a
So
Universal Pictures film, and it had a $20 million budget. It made 220 million. So we're good. Like that was a successful outing from this film over here.
absolutely, 100%.
255. Good. Like that means we're gonna get another one from him. And if
Mm-hmm.
this new film he does something like, I don't know, a $400 million budget or something nice like that, then oh shit, this guy's making that much money off of these small budgets. We can do more. We can like Jordan Peele's just gonna be creative when it comes to his stuff.
Absolutely. Check the budget of
Okay.
Nope, because I'm pretty sure it was low too. So
Nope, you said?
if it was like, yeah, the
It's not gonna
latest one.
say. It doesn't actually say the budget yet. Not on the Box Office Mojo, but if I open a new tab and I just say nope budget, that's what it says.
Get Out made 255 million also. Yeah, and I know the budget on Get Out was probably lower than Us, right? So it's good. Like these movies are making profits. That's what's most important, is that they're making profit.
It says 68 million budget.
Okay. So 68 million budget to make back its money?
Yeah.
Hold on. 204 million.
Is that right?
Yo.
Yeah. What up, Herb?
Hey.
What's up?
Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Loud and clear. Nothing in the background. Doesn't sound.
No, you sound good.
All right.
You sound good.
Yeah, man. Nope was dope,
Sound
man. That was a great movie. But I could see some people being disappointed. Like, I'm glad it didn't have jump scares because I feel like that's what hurts a lot of movies. They always it's a very cheap way to kind of get people.
Oh, so what's happening?
Yeah, what just happened?
I think I was.
Don't
I
ask
think I was
me.
fine. I don't know.
Did y'all
No,
hear me
my
at all?
internet.
Okay.
Like it everything changed. Like even my
Yeah, that's just crazy.
background and shit.
They're listening. They're listening.
You know?
That's what
right,
I'm
go
saying.
ahead.
The
What
movie's
were you
crazy.
saying?
The movie's crazy. But I was just saying. I think a lot of people are expecting like a straight up horror movie, but watching the trailer, and I didn't watch the final trailer because I didn't want to and I think the way they handled exactly what it was really interesting because you thought like, oh, it's just, you know what I'm saying? But no, there's more to it. You know what I'm saying? Just like the mystery behind it. And I think I definitely want to see this in IMAX because they're saying like that's like the most immersive like way to check this out. And I could definitely see why, and just the way it's shot, like it's really unique. And I definitely want to rewatch all the movies to kind of see how they hold up and just, you know what I'm saying? Because I think it's definitely going to be interesting. It's an interesting conversation to have.
And I personally, I agree with you. There's a little bit of mystery there in the movie. I just think that you could have probably cut out maybe 20 to 15 minutes of the movie, and it would have been a little bit more tighter. You know what I mean? I thought there were some scenes that kind of dragged on for me, where it was like, but
yeah,
I don't know. I'm gonna watch it again. I'm gonna watch it again.
When you brought up, what's his name, Jupiter's character, Stephen Young's character, I felt the same way, but the more I thought about it, it makes sense for the like you mentioned it, like it went over your head a little bit, but I understood what they were going for because it's kind of like it's sort of like I kind of looked at it like a metaphor of what was going to happen. That's why I said there's a lot of foreshadowing in the beginning of the movie that kind of like, gave you that. Gave kind of all the clues are right there, but I could definitely see people being disappointed with this movie, and I feel like it definitely deserves more than I think it deserves at least 2 watches, just to get kind of like see if you really fuck with it or you don't. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah. I think it definitely does deserve a new watch,
mm,
or a second watch. I agree with that, and I'll watch it again. I'm not gonna go watch it. I didn't
I
see
feel
it in
you.
IMAX either. I didn't see it in IMAX either, and I heard that it should be seen in IMAX as well. But
Yeah.
I'm probably not gonna go watch it in IMAX.
Did you see like? Did you like have like a Prime theater or anything? Because I saw it on Prime. That's why I was like, it was kind of dope with Prime because the music and everything and how how they put the speakers in the seats and shit. That shit was pretty dope.
Oh,
Yeah, that's the Prime theaters and stuff.
Speakers.
Yeah,
I didn't have no speakers in my seat. That's for damn sure. But
yeah, that
I
shit's
had a good
crazy.
theater. It was a good theater that I seen it in. I just didn't have the speakers in the seat and shit, which probably would have made it a little bit more interesting, I
You got
guess.
mainly
But
like AMC's up there, or what do they got in Canada? Like they got like Regals and stuff all that.
no, we used to be called our major theater used to be called Paramount, but now it
Okay,
was bought by one of our banks, so it's called Scotia Bank now. But we have
interesting.
Guzul, we have IMAX, we have some good theaters here.
Okay,
We have Dolby, yeah, we have the vibrating seats and shit and all of that stuff. So
4DX.
4DX, yeah, we got all of that. But
yeah, I got 4DX that's like an hour away. I was like, I'm not driving an hour away just to go see a movie. Unless if it was something I really like.
Maybe you'll see
needed
Tyrone
to-
Magnus there.
Maybe he's in Jersey though. Like he used to be in Jersey and shit, like right by me. But
so we were also talking about like the race bend stuff. What's your thoughts on that?
I think it's silly because it's always happened, but nobody's like it hasn't been since like social media that just kind of amplifies it. I feel like what I'm saying, like
Yeah.
nobody made a big deal about what was it in Batman? What was it? Batman '89, Harvey Dent.
Mhm.
Nobody really made a big uproar about that. They kind of just overlooked it or just don't really acknowledge it like that. Just stuff like that.
You say nobody, you mean like the angry people who just want all white everything? Those guys didn't have internet back then?
Yeah.
But look at it from this perspective. Like if a movie is going to be done, a film is going to be casted, and a studio will look and they'll say, it seems to be very white. We're not bigots. We're going to mix things up because we're not hateful people who just want to convey this message of all whiteness. Okay, let's make a black character Harvey Dent. That's what they did. That's probably exactly how it happened. So it wasn't from a place of hate or anything, but it was like that. I go, this progressed to nothing. If you wanted black characters, and if we want black characters to be like elevated, then find a black character in the history of Batman and use it, because he's got lots of characters. You know how many comics exist of Batman? So somewhere in that roster is a character whose skin color just isn't white, with just a unique ethnicity. Just utilize that, and then the long term is that we'll be talking now about the Batman '89 movie, and we'll be talking about that diverse character, that foreign character, that that guy who just wasn't white. He will get an elevation and a boost, and that is how you would combat this ultra whiteness that we've been getting. But when you do it this way and you just go, okay, we'll just take a character who's always been white, we'll mix it up for this one time. Every other time he's still going to be white, but this one time we made him black. You didn't do anything long term.
That's true, but yeah, I do see where it can be disingenuous a lot of times and stuff like that. But it's on the same time, like it's the same as like how many Egyptian movies have we gotten? It was always like all white casts, and and nobody really. There was no real outcry. They just kind of just let it happen. It's just like it's the same thing. Like it's just people are just picking and choosing what to get just mad about just because it's their favorite. Like even though. Like, take for instance, like Dragon Ball Evolution, like Goku shouldn't be white, But if it's like somebody that looks like him, at least, or some shit like that, and he could just get his mannerisms and shit like that, I was like, I'm not gonna, make a big deal of it. But it's just, if it's completely obvious, then yeah, it's just. I just think it's just, I don't know. You're not gonna really win either way with it, so they're gonna just keep doing. How
do you lose if you just use a black character who's always been black? How do you lose in that situation?
By not marketing them right.
So you're saying that the people, the customers who don't, I guess, show out, they're gonna be a hindrance.
Not necessarily.
I just think that, and again, I always go with the normies because, contrary to what people think, those are who they make the movies for. I just think the normies they just don't give a damn. Like, it doesn't matter. Just give me a good story. Just give me a good character. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter if he's white or black as long as he portrays the character properly. Me as a normie, that's how I feel about it. I'm like, I don't care. Like, I'll be fine with it. I had no problems with them making Jim Gordon black. Do it.
Like another example, like Resident Evil, like Wesker. I kind of like what they did with his character, even though it was goofy as hell. I like Bert. Shout out to Bert. He's cool. And it's just like it was kind of different. It's like, okay, I see what you're trying to do. It's something different. You know what I'm saying? But you could also use you already have black characters. Why not use them? But who's to say they won't use those characters at the same time? But that's what
I'm with you. I liked Wesker. I liked him, and you got, like, people were like, "Oh, that's not Wesker," but then there's a scene where you get the actual Wesker. He's black, of course, but that's the Wesker from the game. You know what I mean? With the fucking black trench coat and the glasses and shit. So you got that in there. Just he was black instead of white, and I thought that was cool. I was like, shit, that's fire. I thought it was. I didn't have an issue with it. But you get the purists of the game.
There's definitely like certain things that I get like kind of like, why'd you do that with like that character? That's not really that character. But like people really go to the extreme with the shit. Like, and I don't understand that. But it's like I said, as Hollywood just keeps doing what it does, it's just gonna keep doing. It's just gonna keep doing what it does, and just I don't know.
So how do we change it?
We are doing it. You did it just earlier today when you watched Nope.
Right.
Okay. I get that. But that doesn't change the race bending stuff in the movies and comic books. So how do you change that? That's the question. Because what are you going to do? Stop seeing the movies where a character is race bent? Then you're probably going to stop seeing like 80% of the movies, Marvel movies?
I mean, that is an option. Like, if you don't like what they're doing with the character, then just don't watch it. Like, another example, like the new Dragon Ball movie that's coming out. I'm not watching it because I don't like that 3D animation that they're doing. Like, I just don't care whatever's going on in that movie. I just don't care. I'm just dismissing it. Like, and I'm just moving on. But maybe the next thing, if it looks better, I'll probably check it out. But you know what I'm saying? It's
what you withhold your money from, and also what you do give your money to. Black Panther made 1.3 billion, and then this new film is not going to make 1.3 billion. The studio will get the message. We actually needed T'Challa. Okay, cool. We'll recast him for the third time, for the third movie. That's what they'll do. That's how that goes.
You see that in that scenario, I can understand that, right? I could say, because you're going to have another movie to judge it on, but do you think that Black Panther 2 would have done what Black Panther 1 did even if T'Challa was in it? Even if it was Chadwick Boseman?
Yes.
Absolutely not.
Yeah,
absolutely not.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely think it would be it'd be much bigger than the first one.
It would be bigger than the first one, yeah.
I think the first one was lightning in a bottle, and I don't think the second one would have done the same thing.
Okay, when you say not the same thing, 1.3 billion is what it did do. Do you mean
I don't think it hits
900? Okay.
Yeah, I don't think it hits $1 billion.
Even though Doctor Strange made 950, you don't think the Black Panther would have done it? Come on now.
Doctor Strange, right, teased Professor X. That's why. That's why it got there. It teased Professor X. It teased the X-Men. Spider-Man No Way Home made the money it made because it had Toby and Andrew in it. So they were gimmicks that propelled those movies.
And it was a Christmas
that helps
release.
too. Christmas release and the release dates
that was smart.
well. I agree with you.
That was really
Absolutely.
smart.
Now you put Black Panther 2 out in Black History Month in February, maybe, maybe because
Nah,
February movies don't.
you put it in that May spot. I would put it in that May spot and just, you know what I'm saying, let it fly. Because these
Mhm.
summer movies
Well,
been weak as hell. These summer seasons been weak as hell. Like, there's little pockets
mhm.
where, like, yo, like, I think Nope's gonna do really well because there's not that much that's out left.
Competition out there
Like,
right now. Hmm.
yeah, so you never know. That's what's dope about movies because you never know what's gonna like really pop or what's nobody expected Top Maverick. I didn't expect Top Maverick to be like over $1
Neither did
billion right
I.
now, and
Neither
that
did
shit is
I.
mid as hell. That movie is mid as fuck to me. For me.
And I
But
haven't even seen it yet, but I've seen pieces
Same.
of it, and I was just like, man, I'll wait. I'll wait.
yeah, I
So
understand
yeah.
why.
Hmm. And you're right. It's made a shitload of money. I think it's Tom Cruise's first $1 billion movie. You know what I mean? So yeah, you never know. And I hope Nope does good too as well. You never know what these movies are gonna do, but I don't know, man. I just
Like, do you think Halloween Ends is gonna do well?
probably not. I think
How do you
it'll
feel about
probably make a
Kills?
part. I never watched it. I'm not a Halloween guy.
You gotta watch
I'm
Halloween.
not a Halloween. I heard Kills was garbage though. I heard it was
It's
garbage.
fun. It's fun. I wouldn't say it's garbage, but I could definitely see where like because compared to 18, like the tone was just like completely shifted. That's why I think a lot of people didn't like that movie. But Halloween as a whole, I think is a really solid slasher. You
Hey,
know.
the last Halloween movie I seen was with Busta Rhymes, and I was done. I
See, that's
was
what I'm saying.
done.
Like goofy shit like that. Like, nah, you gotta just watch the first one and even like the second one, and I think you would really like. All right, this one. And even just like the backstory on those movies are really dope because they made that on like they made that movie with like $300,000 or some shit like that,
Hmm.
and now it's
Well,
just as big as
I
it is.
tried to watch. I tried to watch the Rom Zombie ones. Wasn't feeling those ones. Seen the first
Yeah,
one, and I didn't bother to see the second one. So I wasn't really a big Halloween fan. But
you like Rob Zombie as like a director? Yeah, see,
absolutely.
unless if you like really like his style or some shit like that, because he has a really like grungy type of like extreme like in your face type of style. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It definitely rubs some people the wrong way. It's definitely not for everybody. Like he definitely makes some weird ass fucking movies. Like I forget what the it wasn't the Halloween
1,000
movie.
Corpse or
No,
something.
no,
The
no. It came
1,000
out
Corpse
like
one's garbage.
2013 or something like that. What the fuck was it called? I forget what it was called, but that shit had like a midget in it. What that shit just completely threw me the fuck off. Like I was like, all right, bro, you
Yeah,
doing too much.
no, yeah,
But
not for me.
there are some really dope new horror movies and stuff like that are coming out though. Like Smile, that shit looks dope.
Oh yeah, I seen it. I seen the trailer for that. That one looked pretty good too. Um, there's a few good movies coming out. I agree with you. I agree with you.
Mystic
Anything else,
Shadows.
Chill?
I don't think Black
Yeah, go
Panther
ahead.
2 was going to be good either. Are you going to pay to see it, though? That's the thing, Mystic. Are you going to support the idea that this movie can be done, this franchise should continue without the greatest black superhero alive, not alive anymore? And that's where I go, nope.
You know, I see what you did there.
Was
But for me, it's just like I got the AMC A-list thing, whatever, so it gives me like whatever I can watch as many movies as what like how I want. So it's like I might as well, I'm going to just because like if I didn't, I know this is like the cliche thing to say. If I didn't do YouTube, I probably wouldn't watch it. But I like movies too much, so I'm like I gotta see it. So
mm-hmm,
regardless,
mm-hmm.
You
I
could always
just
pay for a Black Adam ticket and then go into Black Panther.
nah, because I'm gonna see that Black Adam. Man. That Black Adam gonna be fire. But you know what I'm saying?
I was gonna ask, Chill. Wasn't it you that put up the comment that you asked a few people about should they recast T'Challa, and they all said no?
It sounds like something I did, but they all said no. No, people usually say yes.
I could have swore you put up the
That
tweet.
sounds like some nerd man
There's a
shit.
tweet.
There's no way that.
I thought it was you.
Okay.
Hold on, let me see if I can
I
find
put
it
up a
because I
poll.
think or it was a tweet that you put up, and it said, I asked a bunch of people should they recast T'Challa, and they all said no. Hell no. Thought it was you. Hold on, let me see if I can find it.
There's a petition that you guys can all sign right now. Recast T'Challa on change.org, and you should add to that, because it's one thing to just talk and say stuff like that, but if you can sort of like have a place where you can quantify how many people believe this opinion, that's the way to go. So the petition is the answer. Is a answer. The real answer is when the movie flops.
Yeah, I'm with the recast T'Challa because I want to see his like storyline to continue before they like pass it off. At least let him get his trilogy off, like, and then do whatever you want.
Yeah, I definitely
like Thor has 4 movies. Thor has 4 movies. Why can't T'Challa have at least 2?
Because the actor died and he's the same thing as the character to these studios.
Yeah, so, but it's more like, well, they definitely going to capitalize off of his death regardless. So it's like,
yeah, we saw the plot leaks. They're gonna have him die of a sickness off screen. What?
Yikes!
I didn't like that.
Hey, you're gonna pay for it.
Yeah, you're right. I'm gonna pay for it. I still didn't like it, but I'm gonna pay for it. I'm gonna support it, but I don't think it's gonna be good.
You better watch that movie.
Because either way, you're right. Because they're gonna get you either way, either in the theater or 48 days later on Disney Plus.
Mm-hmm.
Or you're gonna watch it on bootleg. You're gonna watch this movie regardless. You're gonna.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Chill's gonna watch it, regardless of whether he pays for it or not. He's gonna watch it.
Yeah, Blackout. Yeah, Chill Vision. Tickets for Black Adam, and then I'll go see, what I gotta see.
Mm-hmm. Of course, you're gonna pay for it. We're all gonna go see it. It's gonna be either really good or really shit. But you guys don't have faith in Ryan Coogler that he can give us a good movie, though?
Okay, when you put it like that, it's not like I'm not faith in Ryan Coogler, but he produced Space Jam, and that was bad.
I think that's I think the trailer is gonna say it all. Maybe not the first one, but like that main official trailer that we get is gonna say it all. Like the tone and everything, how people are feeling. That's gonna be make or break for it. I think they're gonna really try to play with motherfuckers' emotions, though. They definitely gonna tug at the heartstrings, play some theme music and stuff like that, and just have some. They're probably gonna have like a recap of just T'Challa in the MCU and stuff, just to kind of get the what I'm saying, get the tears going a little bit. But they're definitely gonna put something on it too.
If they do that, is that not gonna piss you off, Chill?
It will piss me off. The king is dead, but Wakanda forever. Like, nah, don't give me that.
But now, what would really sell me if they bring back the trailer guy and be like, and just him saying some like nice words and whatnot.
They'll try every bell and whistle in a world.
They need to bring that back, though. They definitely need to bring that back with trailers, man.
The trailer guy died, right? The guy who did most of them, he got sick and died.
I would watch that movie. I could see A24 making that movie.
Which one?
Like I'm making a movie about the trailer guy that does the voices.
Well, what's the climax of that movie? Well, how do we finish that off?
Him dying of cancer or whatever he died of. I think that would work better as a documentary, to be honest.
Yeah, it'd be dope though. Little stuff like that are missing with these trailers.
Yeah, I like I said, man, we'll see when it comes out, but I don't think it makes $1 billion. I don't think it beats Thor Ragnarok. Love and Thunder. I don't think it makes more money than that. And Thor Love and Thunder is, I think, at what? 116 million the last time I checked.
You gotta think, is it still it's still slated for like November 11th. They never like. So that's right around Thanksgiving. They're definitely going to eat. No pun intended, but the Thanksgiving weekend definitely going to do good for them. It's going to be a family.
It's going to have a great opening weekend. But the second weekend is, and especially if it's not good, it is going to drop like crazy because people are gonna go see it. They're gonna want to know, okay, T'Challa's dead, Chadwick Boseman is dead. Let's see what they do. The curiosity for the first weekend is going to be extremely high. But if it's not good, word of mouth, it is going to flop.
I feel like it's going to have that multiverse of madness kind of effect where it's just like that movie was kind of mixed for a lot of people. More than like a lot of people. I thought that movie was really going to be like the best movie out of Phase 4. That's my expectations for it. That was super high, but that's what I thought it was going to be for me. But I don't think it met everybody's expectation. I think the same thing with Thor and stuff like that. And I hope it does surprise us. I really do. I hope it really does surprise us and like it give us a great movie. That'd be just like, all right, let's do it.
I personally think Multiverse of Madness was the best movie from Phase 4.
Nah, it's either No Way Home or Shang-Chi. Those are the top two I got right now.
It's definitely not Shang-Chi. I give you Shang-Chi. No Way Home, but it's not Shang-Chi. It's
Shang-Chi is really good though, man. Madness. I think Shang-Chi is really good because it has a lot of elements I like about like because it feels like like I'm watching a live action anime, like just the fight scenes and all that shit.
Shang-Chi really loses me when they bring in the fake Mandarin.
I can forgive it for that. You know what I'm saying? But I guess it's kind of just giving that character closure. You know, even though it didn't really need it, you could have really cut him out. But other than that, I still think it's a really solid movie as far as like a standalone. You know what I'm saying? Like just starting off, much better than Black Widow. Much better start than like a Black Widow or some shit like that. Like
so
Shang-Chi
should have been movie of Phase 4, Joe?
No Way Home.
Okay. You see, to me, it's either No Way Home or Multiverse of Madness. Those are the two. I know it's Perp say he don't, but I think Multiverse of Madness showed you that Marvel can take their movies to a level that we've never seen before. Necks got snapped. The fucking brains, you know what I mean? Chopped in half. You didn't see those in any Marvel movie until Multiverse of Madness.
Not true. We did see that. Like it got real dark with Infinity War and Endgame. Those were like the last, like when Marvel really went there.
Infinity War had, Endgame had the head chopping off of Thanos. That's about it, right? But we're talking about the Shield cutting Captain Marvel and Captain Carter in half, and then showing blood dripping from the shield. You don't see that in Marvel movies. I think that's what puts, for me, Multiverse of Madness ahead of the rest, because now it gives me hope for Blade.
That's fair.
They can still,
Blade can't. But Blade can't be PG-13. I just don't think
they can. Yes, they can make it PG-13 and still have it have the same effect. Because
if a vampire is not a human, then you can get away with slicing off his head the way they did with Thanos, who's not a human. The blood can be a different color. All they just don't want blood to be red. In Multiverse of Madness, they made it black. So you can say vampire blood is black. People are not going to watch that movie and go, "Oh, the blood was black. This is fake." We're gonna get blood.
Yeah.
Some F-bombs being dropped. They see some like
that's
some splatter everywhere, just blood, just like it's gotta be extra. But we'll see though. We'll see because like I just feel like with the PG-13, they don't push it as hard as they can. They should be always kind of trying to push that.
I find restrictions lead to creativity more often than not. When you can't do something, then you got to think a way around it. It turns out, that's like, you guys know about Jaws, how they didn't have the budget for a shark, so they just showed you the fin. That was actually very helpful.
And I even look at like Stranger Things 4. Like I be forgetting that this is TV 14 sometimes. I'm like, damn, like this feels almost R. It's just they don't be cursing like that.
Right, so they can push the limits of Blade. They can do it to where it feels like an R movie. You know what I mean? It's not, but it could feel that.
But do you trust Marvel? Do you trust the current regime of Marvel to to do it right, or to give you like
After
a cookie cutter.
You see, Chill saying
Oh,
no, but
Multiverse
after
of Madness, you're right.
Multiverse of Madness,
That's Sam Raimi.
But I'm saying,
Yeah,
like, but
I agree with that.
you see Thor: Love and Thunder, like where they really happened to Hanzo.
What happened to me?
Am I going to? Oh,
I'm back.
no, but look at Thor: Love and Thunder, where like there's a lot of parts where that should have been serious, like where like the comedy should have just completely, you know what I'm saying? And I think that's what's going to hurt a lot of these movies because they always have to throw some type of humor anywhere that they can, and like the Eternals should not have any humor in it, but they put that shit in there, like that whole IKEA shit. Trash. Like
Blade doesn't need it either. I'll agree with you 100%. Blade,
and they're
does
probably
not
going to
need
throw it in there. Like they're going to just say like because if they,
as long as they don't do too much,
right?
You know what I mean?
He's not going to be like Negan.
as...
Well, he's not going to be like Negan. We're like, oh, this is a vampire bat. Like he was hitting
every time he makes some sort of joke. Yeah, every time he kills someone, he makes a joke or something like that. Yeah. It's going to be a little bit too much, you know. So I agree with you. I think that, and I've always said that the humor for these Marvel movies takes away from a lot of the movies for me, right? But I don't know. There was a humor in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, didn't really take away from it. I think Spider-Man No Way Home was done in a good way as well, you know, where it didn't take away from the serious moments of that movie. So I think they can do it, and I hope they stick to that with Blade. I hope we get more of that and less of Thor.
Like now, when they announced the Marvel Zombies was going to be TVMA, that was kind of shocking.
Oh, I'm happy for that. I can't wait for the zombies. I know
if it's 3D, I'm not gonna be if it's like it's the same 3D they use for What If, I'm probably not gonna watch it. But you know, it's dope that they're finally like announcing like, okay, we're getting some more mature content on Disney Plus.
So Poe asks, have y'all seen the trailer for Day Sif with Jamie Foxx, Snoop Dogg? Looks badass. It's actually on Netflix now. I'm going to watch it after this. I just finished watching the Gray Men, Ryan Gosling and Chris Evans. That shit was lit. Yo, that shit was fire. That was a good fucking movie, bro. I was like, all right, this is good. I like it. I like it. If you haven't seen it, guys, watch that one next, man. That shit was good. Said I loved that movie. Which movie did you love, Mystic Shadows? Oh shit, man. It's out now. I have to watch it. Yeah, man. I popped on Netflix today and I seen it there, and I was just like, all right, let me watch it. And I wasn't really paying attention to it, so I'm gonna go watch the beginning of it. I wasn't really paying much attention to it. I was making my thumbnail and everything, and then after I was done, I sat down and really penetrated the movie and was like, yo, this is fire. Ryan Gosling fighting was pretty good. I was like, okay, he's putting it down.
Now you kept your Netflix subscription through this period of everyone's canceling.
No, I cut it off for a while and then brought it back.
And it was so rewarding, right? And then all of a sudden you got all these things to watch. That's you guys got to do that. Always cut off your subscription services. Go ahead. And then return when there's something you really want to see. And then while you're there, you're like, oh yeah, I missed that from 2 months ago. Let me check it out.
But see, I'm different with Netflix because like I always could find something to watch on Netflix. Like I always go to the tab where it's like, oh, what's new or what's coming this week or what's, you know what I'm saying? That's how I really like I'll be like, all right, this, and sometimes it'll just be based off of like if you saw, like say if you saw the Nope cover, just like the, you know, the poster or something like that, I would just watch it just based off of that. Not even reading the description and nothing like that. I just, you know, I like the art. So, you know what I'm saying? There's always going to be something to watch on Netflix. So that's why I always keep that around. And I still keep HBO Max and I keep Shudder. Because if you're a horror fan, you must have Shudder. That's just like essential.
Yeah, I have Shudder on Amazon Prime. Go ahead, Joe. What were you going to say?
So I can relate to that because on YouTube, I'll get my recommended homepage and I see nothing I like. I hit subscriptions and I'll see the most recent videos from the guys I subscribe to, and then I go, oh yeah, what were you up to? And all of a sudden I'm watching some guy I haven't commented on in 3 years. You know, like
Yeah.
it's better to do it that way. If you want something to watch, you'll find it that way.
For me, it was just like I had Crave, I had Prime, I had Netflix, I had Apple TV, which was paying for, which was garbage, and I had so many subscriptions to these services. You know, some of them I said I had to let go for a bit, so I let go Netflix for a bit because I wasn't really watching that. I was more watching the Disney Channel because of the Marvel stuff, and Star Wars stuff, right? And then Prime.
Apple TV Plus is definitely stepping up their content though. They got some really fire shows like the Tyler McGray show with Samuel L. Jackson. That's really dope. I was watching Blackbird, that dude from Kingsman. He's in there. I watched this one shit with like Will Ferrell and Paul Rudd. They had some really interesting shows on there. Like if you really like dig through and just, you know what I'm saying, check out some of their content. They definitely surprised me.
When I got it free for a year with my phone, right? And I popped it in. I'm like, all right, let me check out Apple TV. And then I'm like, wait, I got to still pay for this? I still got to pay for this and this? I want to watch this. You got to pay for it. I think they changed it now, but there was way too much stuff that I wanted to watch that I had to pay extra for. And I was just like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah, I feel you. And that's why I was like, all you really need as far as like, I don't feel like you need more than like at least 4 like streaming services. I just need 3. Technically, like I'll keep like Disney Plus around when there's something I want to watch, but that's the one I get rid of the most. Same with like Hulu. If Attack on Titan's not on and like some anime or some shit, like I'm not gonna use Hulu. I'll just use I mainly use just like Netflix, Shudder, and HBO Max. Like, see.
But can you put a dollar amount on these subscriptions? Because if it reaches $30, then I'm gonna be thinking about how I could have bought pizza with this money. Like that's how my brain goes.
Hey, I feel you, because Netflix went up. It's what, 20? If you get the premium package, $20.99. It's like shit.
And that's the thing. Like a lot of people, like unless if you have a 4K TV or 4K, like, you know, anything, you know what I'm saying, you shouldn't be even touching the premium. Like you should just be with the regular, because it's just 1080p and all that. Like that's fine. It's the same price as HBO Max. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I have 4K TV. That's why.
That's what I'm saying. I got the premium as well. You know what I'm saying?
So but it's like you got the premium of this. Then you have Disney Plus, which is another $18. Then you have Prime, which is another, like, I think it's 16 or something like that. Right? Then you have Crave. Then you guys have Hulu in the States and all. It's just getting to be way too much, man.
Yeah.
Like you're spending over fucking $150 for streaming services.
Yeah, it is definitely just like cable and stuff, but I definitely think what I like about the streaming, like kind of like era that we're in, is there's no more like rules really as far as like if you just look at the evolution of television. You know, we used to come from like back in the 50s where they probably had like 2 channels, and then we got like satellite TV and shit. Like we got all these channels and there's still nothing to watch. It's like it's just like kind of history repeating itself in a different way. But in this way, like you can have something like Netflix that puts everything, like puts all the episodes out at once, or you can have Disney Plus that puts out things weekly, or Amazon, they'd be putting out sometimes like 2 episodes. And so that's what I kind of like about everything, like, because everybody can just be experimental with how they release things. No, but
you get a variety. You know what I mean? I think you get more of a variety on streaming service than you would get on regular TV. You know what I mean? There's slots for these shows, but then you could just throw shit out on Netflix, throw it out on Disney Plus. So I think you get more of a variety in the streaming service, which I enjoy.
Do you feel with also that like people are more spoiled now compared to, like, you know, when we were coming from cable, we had to watch what was ever on cable. We couldn't just go outside of that, you know.
Yeah, we're spoiled now.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%, 100%. I say it all the time. I'm like kids now, they don't go outside and play nothing. They don't do nothing.
Right.
When I was a kid, we had Atari, we had video games, but we were outside. We were at the swimming pool. We were riding our bikes. We were ice skating.
Yeah.
We were doing kid shit. You know what I mean? Then you'd come in and play like an hour or two with some video games, go to bed. Now kids, it's wake up and it's video games and they don't go out. And
technology. Yeah, technology.
Yeah,
and that's crazy. That's a whole generation that's gonna just be like born into that technology shit. Like I can't imagine that. Even though we were like, I'm like being like grown up in the '90s, just being like at the start of it, going into it, and just like it's different than just being actually born when it's already around. Like it's just it's kind of crazy.
I remember I had to memorize all my friends' phone numbers. You got to memorize your friends' numbers. Now, I don't even know my son's number off by heart. If I lose my phone, I have no idea what his number is. I don't know it off by heart. It's crazy. Yeah, you know what I mean?
We rely so much on the internet.
Shit way too much. Yeah. To spell check now, kids aren't as smart as they don't have to worry about knowing how to spell a word. You can just get close to it.
Hey, I support that one. I like that one. Red underline, and then I got the correct word.
I'm right. Yeah, like
I support it too. I do. But I'm just saying, as a kid, it's we're adults, so yeah, we're gonna fucking forget. I remember one of my friends was like, "Yo, how do you spell soup again?" I was like, "Really, bro? Like soup?" You know what I mean? So I get it as an adult.
I got my cruxes too. For me, I never spelled the word exercise correctly. I feel like that's a little bit complicated. But soup, come on now.
I know. It's funny. It's
definitely gonna be some like Westworld shit though. Definitely gonna be some Westworld shit.
So that's what I'm saying. It's like
that dude from Kingsman will be the new Wolverine by tomorrow.
I could see it.
Is that Taron Egerton?
Yeah, that's his name. I think so.
So what announcements do you think we're gonna get? I was trolling the Snyderverse stuff earlier today. I was just trolling it, but I said I would have trolled either side, right? If they had announced the Snyderverse, the people that said they weren't doing it, I would have trolled their asses too, But since you got that little Jim leak that says they're not going any further, but what announcement do you guys think you're gonna get this weekend?
I think if Henry Cavill does pop up on stage, that'd be really big for DC. I would like it on the Marvel side if Michael Fassbender and like James McAvoy came on stage, but this is your Magneto and you know what I'm saying, Professor X and all that shit.
No, you don't want Denzel. You don't want Denzel Washington and what's his name? Chill.
Carlos.
The one who Carlos. Yeah, the one who they have.
Carlos Esposito
for Professor X. Yeah, you don't want to see him and Denzel Washington.
Gus.
Magneto and Professor X.
I would like to see Gus as a villain though in Marvel in some capacity though. That'd be dope.
I got the Superman prediction.
No,
go ahead.
No, you first.
I have Patty Jenkins announcing her Wonder Woman 3. We'll get some word on that. An animated film for Static because of what Jon Stewart just did now, and because they're not racist, so they got to prove they're not racist. Animated film, not live action, animated. I got a Bizarro is going to be casted because, Henry Cavill, Bizarro. And then we got no Flash, no Ezra Miller, not a single peep. There's not going to be Michael Keaton. Nothing to remind you that the Flash is going to come. That's my DC predictions. And on Marvel, I got Sony and Spider-Man collaboration. They're going to do you like a Silk or something that you didn't expect. But I think Sony and Marvel Studios brotherhood and bond is stronger than just we're going to do a Peter Parker movie. We're going to get another character. And because it's going to be joined together, I think they do it. Then I got Black Panther trailer. Iman Vellani's going to appear. We'll see what she's doing next. Ironheart footage. And then the fans are going to chant recast T'Challa. Those are my predictions.
You think with Blue Beetle wrapping up, you think it's too early to have like a little trailer or a little sizzle reel?
No, it should have a sizzle reel.
Marvel has supposedly trademarked some titles for the future. One of them is Secret Wars, another is Kang Dynasty. We may get some announcement on those. Yeah, I did see that. Interesting, the Kang Dynasty one. I was like, okay, that's interesting. I'm down for that. And I personally think that Jonathan Majors, I think he's like one of the top actors right now. I
Yeah,
think he's really fucking good, man. You know what I mean?
it's gonna be.
I think he's really good.
And I think Kang should be like the new Loki, where he's like a reoccurring type of villain that he'll always pop up. Like he can always pop up, like not like a big battle, but like he'll always come back somehow, like for Young Avengers or something like that. Yeah.
Well, the way that's sounding to me is like we're gonna get a lot of versions of Kang. We're not just gonna get one. We're gonna get a lot of versions of Kangs through some of these movies. So we may get some good Kangs. We'll get a lot of bad Kangs. I'm excited for that. I'm like, yeah. I don't know about predictions. I have no idea. Are they broadcasting it live, or is it just going to be things that are getting announced during the day?
They never broadcast these live.
Which is
They
dumb.
should. Yeah, they should.
They get so many views.
I mean, I guess they feel, they won't get as much money if you broadcast it live, because I just...
That's true.
I mean...
But you think of like things like... well, I guess E3 would be different, but, I kind of like look at it like you could handle it in that situation, but, because like E3, you can still see like what's going on and people still go there.
Mm-hmm. I think it could be done. I just think that, I don't know why they don't do it.
You make a good point, though, with the money. Yeah.
But even
I think we're gonna get some surprises,
in San Diego though. No, but I'm saying it's in San Diego though. I ain't going to San Diego, so you might as well give the people who can't go, you know what I mean, something to watch, right?
Yeah. Instead of like just it being a post, like a post on Twitter and stuff. It's kind of less exciting,
Mm-hmm.
Actually, kind of just be in there real time with everybody else.
Who's the account you got to follow to be up to date?
That's true.
Like, who's the Adrian Wojnarowski of Marvel?
I don't know. I don't know. I guess you would maybe DC. Maybe DC or Marvel. You and it's their
the
own site, because
accounts.
when the official accounts. Yeah.
You're right.
And then after it's announced, they'll post it up on social media. This was just announced, Henry Cavill shows up, or if he doesn't show up, but a lot of people are speculating that he's going to show up.
I'm looking forward to seeing like more of that Batman animated series that they're doing, the Cape Crusader, that series that's supposed to be black and white and supposed to be like ultra violent and all that stuff, like they were talking about it.
Oh yeah,
that's interesting. Yeah. I think we're going to get some surprises, though.
The 50 Shades of Grey guy is rumored for Reed Richards. I wonder if they'll hold off on the X-Men announcements until D23 to not overshadow Fantastic Four. So Fantastic Four is going to be announced?
Yeah.
I can see them announcing the cast, like doing like that, like in classic fashion, just have the cast come out.
One at a time, or all four?
All four. But like one at a time, like this is your Reed Richards, blah 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 blah. That's it.
Yeah, better to do it.
Well, I did hear that they were supposed to do that. Yeah. But I think they should just keep fucking the Reed Richards they had, John Krasinski. I don't have an issue with him.
What if they go, yo, only if we get your wife, because we like Emily Blunt. If not, that's it. That's the bricks, kid. And then they don't use him. If you use John Krasinski, it's because you like the talent of what Emily Blunt brings.
Yeah, it's possible.
That's true.
It's possible. Wasn't Emily Blunt supposed to be in
Black Widow?
I think I heard you. Yeah, she was supposed to be Black Widow, right? And didn't want to do it, or had some conflicts or contracts or
like
something like that. You don't like it?
No, I like that casting.
Yeah, should be good. Should be good. Anything else you guys want to talk about? I'm gonna close it up just now, and
Nah, but I think Ashley
So
and I are gonna cover this on her channel when the Comic-Con thing happens. So look out for that tomorrow.
Cool. I was gonna say, and we're all in agreement that we don't have an issue with race bending characters, so that's good. It was good that we were able to all come to an agreement on this situation. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It's good to know that you guys seen it my way as well at the end. You know what I mean? It is what it is, you know. But I make a great argument, and we can't get around that. So,
What kind of like hypnosis was this? Yes, it was great.
Reverse psychology.
Anything you want to announce, Perp?
Yeah, nothing really. You know what I'm saying? I got a bunch of stuff out. Just dropped a bunch of videos. Joey Badass dropped his album. Did a review on that. Got my Nope review up. What else did I drop? I dropped a bunch of stuff. If you just click, on the buttons, you know what I'm saying, to get you there, you already know.
Just click on the button.
Absolutely. That is correct. And I just want to say this real quick. I've been sending Danny like clips from like sports stuff and shit like that, trying to get them interested in like maybe doing a square one on Saturday to be like, hey guys, it's still square one, right? But Kendrick Perkins literally said that fucking Steph Curry is better than Kobe Bryant. No, Steph Curry is not fucking better than Kobe Bryant.
Smoking.
Absolutely not. No, he is not better than Kobe Bryant.
What makes people say things?
Well, it's the 3-point
shooting
thing. That's a great aspect of what Steph Curry can do. And free throw shooting, he's got a great percentage. But that's everything else Kobe can do. I got Kobe above.
You said Kendrick Perkins?
Yeah.
Kendrick.
The dude that like is known for just not expressing no type of emotion whenever he's playing. Is that Kendrick Perkins?
And saying stupid shit? Yes, Kendrick Perkins, yeah. So saying stupid shit. That was some stupid shit that he said.
That was too soon.
Shit. It's crazy. With that being said, guys, it was great. Thank you, Perp. Thank you, Chillmonger, for coming in. It was very interesting. Probably going to do it again one of these nights, so you guys will always be welcome. And anyone else, if I'm doing one and they say, hey, let's pop and talk about certain situations. I was hoping the chat would have a little bit more questions that they did, but they didn't. So next time we'll try it again and see what happens. Peace.
Brainstorming. Rain stay pouring all over the court. Check and trade scoring. A rational activist. Others remain dormant. Factual passages. Able to wage war when time call for it. Burn fire upon corporate setting his back. Sun is fall forward. See the big picture. Don't get stuck on small portraits. Tap resources. Your three inner forces. Mind, body, and soul working like piano chords. Linking the piece together from the root like Neanderthals. Reserving animalistic behavior when I convert into the cross satanic spiritual savior. Words that are used are the truth if I never gave ya anything else in your life. Remember words that I breathed on this mic. I print people a copy to read what I write. Tell it fast like Mach speed on a bike. Like a native chief, I speak and bring peace with a pipe. Subtle as a thief in the night with beats in a light. Check the I'm blacking out like Slobodan Milosevic. Hold that, take some with you. Eternal pain when New Jerusalem hit you. Fall back, don't press the issue with script, lock, slip, check, Bethlehem officials.